Hey everyone, you're listening to the official podcast of 4playernetwork.com. Check us out at that address for everything you need to know about our community, monthly giveaways, and nightly live streams. You can even support us on Patreon at patreon.com/4player. And last but not least, you can catch the live recordings of these podcasts every single Thursday night on our Twitch channel. We hope to see you there. Enjoy. All right, hey everyone, welcome to 4Player Podcast, episode 553. My name is Nick Henderson. I am joined by Brad Simons,
Yo.
Carlos,
Hey, what's up?
and Christopher Guthridge.
Hello.
Welcome back, Crispy.
It's good to be back,
I know,
Nick.
we haven't had you the past couple weeks.
I know, I've been so busy.
Well, we're glad you're back. We've kicked Nolan out of his own house tonight.
Good.
He took the dog with him, though. I'm kind of sad about that, to be totally honest. Anyways, welcome to the show, everybody. We have a lot of stuff to discuss tonight. How is everybody doing? Brad, you seem quiet.
Oh, I'm okay.
Oh.
I'm convinced.
I mean, Thursdays are my Fridays, so, you know.
Yeah.
I'm always in a slightly good mood.
Party time.
But Fridays are the day I watch Henry all day, so, you know. Whew,
Right.
it's a toss-up.
Man. We had all this wonderful discourse before the show about Roseanne and Todd Howard memes, and now I feel like I've got nothing left.
Tim Allen.
No entertainment left to give the good people out there listening on the go.
Yep.
This
one's going to be
This might be controversial here.
Oh God.
But
God.
if we titled the podcast,
Oh God, no.
Tim Allen Hates Black People, would we get sued?
No.
You know what?
It might drive the listens down.
Because if we do get sued, let's do it now.
How about we do that?
Before we have anything to lose.
Oh my God.
I'm just kidding.
Maybe we should do that because if we get sued, that means I'm getting sued.
I know, that's the joke.
Oh, I get it. I get your joke now. Son of a bitch. All right. Anyways, before we get too far into this fucking disaster zone, I want to remind everybody of a couple things. We got E3 coming up in 2 weeks.
And a half?
About a week and a half. The EA press conference is just over a week away.
I know, it's exciting. Can't wait to see what Fallout 76 is all about.
Oh my God. We're going to talk about that tonight. So don't you get ahead of yourself. We got so much to talk about tonight, but we are planning for E3. As I mentioned last week, next weekend we'll be doing live commentary of the Microsoft and Bethesda conferences on Sunday, hopefully recording a podcast that same day, and we're going to be in LA Monday through Thursday for the event. Not all of us, some of us are going to be there, and we'll be doing commentary of the other press conferences and recording podcasts throughout the week, as we always do, so hopefully you guys can join us all week for E3. I think we're all pretty hyped, right? Right?
Yeah.
I believe
In fact,
you.
I was
I
making
believe
a
all
list
of you.
of the games I'm most hyped to see. But I guess it's just a list.
I'm really hyped, Nick.
Let's say,
and I'm kind of not that I wouldn't want everybody there, but it's going to be interesting with like the smaller, more agile crew of only 3 people.
Fuck you.
I know. I'm sorry.
Fuck yourself.
I would love for you to go, Brad, but
I would love to go.
it's not in my control.
that is true.
I could have gone.
What?
Oh,
Well, I mean, it's my choice to, not leave my wife with a child alone.
I think you made a very responsible, respectable decision.
Yeah, Brad was responsible.
Plus, E3 is always just a slog of disappointment.
Can I go instead?
And betrayal.
I mean, yeah. Can you go instead? We should.
Bitch, I asked you.
Oh wait, yeah, he did. Ask you.
I did ask you if you could go instead.
That door closed months ago.
Yes, it very much closed months ago. Anyways, we're very excited. I'm pretty sure. I don't know about you guys. I'm getting fucking excited. I know you got, Brad. You especially like to tell me to like not let myself get excited because I'm only going to be met with heaps of disappointment. But you know what?
You'll laugh.
Do you know what?
Bullshit.
I'm excited because I like shit games, So like, there's gonna be plenty of that.
That
I can't
is
wait.
true.
To
There's
see
always
Anthem.
plenty of
I
shit
can't
games.
wait for them to say that Fallout 76 is an online battle royale game. I can't wait for it.
Oh
It's
my
gonna be
God.
great.
I mean, it's probably going to have that mode.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
We'll
talk about
Let's
that.
just get that out of the way. That's probably happening, right?
Don't let that be your bar for disappointment. Because
Dude,
I'm pretty
last
sure
year
you're
my
gonna hit
game
that.
of show was Fortnite. So I mean, it wasn't Battle Royale yet.
You should
but-
be like an investor.
Dude,
or
I
something.
know, right?
Dude, Fortnite was one of my favorite games at E3 last year as well, and I'm so amazed at how fast I went from like 100 to like 0
You know,
on Fortnite
you know what's
the
funny?
moment the Battle Royale fucking shit started.
You know how I hate all the popular stuff? You know?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
That's a good Brad meme, right?
That's
Or
very
reality. Remember, I was like super down on Fortnite after E3,
Yeah.
or when we saw it at E3.
Are you saying this
Yeah.
is a self-fulfilling
Before
prophecy?
it was even popular. So I'm like a hipster. I'm like even hipper than a hipster.
You're as hip as a hipster could
Yeah.
be without ever
It-
having
it's like-
actually
it's like-
touched the game.
I hated it before it became pop.
You hated it before it even became something worthy of popular hate.
When the hipsters
There
when the
we go.
hipsters would have liked something, I already hated it.
Yeah.
So I won up the hipsters.
You were
He's
such a trendsetter
Chris Davis
in that regard.
has labeled you the proto-hipster.
Yeah, proto hipster.
Man,
Yeah.
I don't know. There's a few guarantees with E3. There's always going to be some memes. There's going to be some...
God, I can't wait to see who fucks up on stage this
Oh,
year.
man.
Well, okay,
Todd Howard's gonna say something goofy. He's gonna
my
say
God.
something goofy.
Oh my god.
You know what? You know what's funny? I went back and watched the Anthem demo they did last year at Microsoft,
Yeah.
and it made me realize there's really no making people happy, because I've been listening to a lot of podcasts lately. Everyone's getting hyped about E3. Everyone's talking about stuff. And I heard someone talking. I think I was listening to Easy Allies, Brad, because you recommended it. Fun show. But they were talking about Anthem and how Anthem looked cool, but they hated like the like how they were like pretending to be.
Oh yeah,
you know,
like the scripted
scripted
but it's
dialogue.
supposed to read as off the cuff.
But like,
yeah.
if you go watch that, and you can totally tell it is scripted.
Yeah,
but as far as scripted dialogue goes during a demo, it's easily the best I've ever seen. Like it was seamless. You can tell they're acting, but like it was good fake acting. You know what you know what I mean? There's like I feel like people would have just been happy if they just didn't say anything, just completely silent. But they were trying to demo the fact that you were playing cooperatively
Right.
with people.
Right.
So I don't know. It's there's no making people happy. That's the one thing you always know about E3. There's no making everybody happy.
You know, I think we should all just bear in mind that E3 is really nothing more than a week-long commercial for
Yeah.
a bunch of commercial products, and just let that temper our expectations.
But you know what? It's a fun week.
It is fun.
It's a fun
It's
week.
a hell of a lot of fun.
And it kind of dictate, not dictate, but it gives you a
It
nice.
sets the tone for the year to come.
It sets the tone for the year to come. And you know what? That's always pretty fucking exciting. So we're gonna be in LA on the week of the 11th. I think the 11th through the 15th is when we're gonna be there. And we'll be doing live commentary on Sunday for Microsoft and Bethesda. We'll be doing commentary for Sony when we're in LA. All that good stuff. So hopefully you guys can tune in to 4playernetwork.com. You can watch a stream, our commentary, and of course we'll be getting podcasts up throughout the
I
week.
think I'm gonna be here for Microsoft with Henry.
Yeah, that is cool.
Henry's
Brad is
first press conference. That's awesome.
It's going to be a Microsoft conference.
I mean, he did buy me a year of Xbox Live.
Wow, that's pretty good money for a baby.
He was playing with the controller.
I saw, yeah, no, I saw it. You videotaped that and put it on.
No. We were just watching like the fucking Good Wife or something on the PS4, and he grabbed the 360 controller and was playing with it. We were like,
That's
adorable. He thinks he's playing a video game. And
He's
then
just buying all the
and
shit.
then a couple hours, I'm looking at my email, and it said I bought a year of Xbox Live.
That is the funniest shit I've ever heard.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Thinking about all those kids with like their cell phone games racking up thousands of dollars on their parents' credit cards.
And he's starting at the age of like how old?
Filthy fucking Xbox.
It's just
Oh my god. But yeah. So again, that's going to be
Him and Chris Davis can sit on that couch next to each other during the Microsoft press
get all
conference.
excited.
Hey man, you know what? I'm actually getting pretty excited even for Microsoft press conference. It was pretty good last year, even if it was all stuff that I ended up playing on PS4, or I'm probably still going to play on PS4. Anyways, again, join us starting the 10th through the 14th. I think is the official, and we are going to do a community meetup. The last night in LA.
Ooh, where? Oh, you're at
Button Mash.
Button Mash?
We're going to do Button Mash again. So if you're in the LA area, or if you're going to E3 and you'd like to come hang out with us tonight, we're going to meet up at this arcade, have some dinner, hang out for a little while, and chat. So hopefully we'll see some of you guys out there. we'll be getting details on that up on the site at 4playernetwork.com soon. Also, Discord. If you're not a member of our Discord, it's a great place to be. I'd encourage you guys to join it. It's discord.gg/4player. It's a great way to kind of keep in touch with all of us during the week. All the other members of the community, they're all in there talking about Todd Howard memes.
I'm in there a lot when I'm bored at work. So
There's lots of eyes going on in Discord.
I mostly just hang out in the gaming channel.
Yeah, even when you should be
when I pop into general
staff channel.
Have you ever seen the GIF of Matt Damon aging really quickly?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like from Saving Private Ryan? Yeah. That's basically me when I'm in the general channel. So, you want to talk to me? I'll be in the game channel.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, discord.gg/4players where you'll find that. Also, we have feedback. We have feedback from last week's podcast. If you have anything that you'd like to say after tonight's podcast, please leave us a comment at 4playernetwork.com and we will read it at the start of next show. So, can you scroll a little bit? That's the second comment right there. Okay. So this is a long one. I don't know if I'm going to read that. I'm going to start by reading the first comment and then we'll see about reading the second one.
It's actually Sir Thomas Tipple.
Sir Thomas Thipple says, regarding the Battlefield 5 controversy, quote unquote, I think DICE and EA are clearly pandering to the political climate. Because let's be honest, if they actually gave a shit about gender diversity and female representation, they wouldn't have waited till Battlefield 1 to make this move. There would have already been female characters in the other Battlefield games years ago. They're doing it now because it's a timely hot-button topic that'll likely draw attention to the game. What do y'all think of that?
I don't agree with that at all.
All right, continue.
I'm saying, hey man, don't hate them just because they didn't start as soon as you liked. Okay?
Yeah.
I feel like
things are changing.
Even if it's
for the better all of the time. You can't question their start time. That's insane.
I mean, I don't think anyone would argue that DICE EA as a company, like all companies, don't put their profit and their bottom line ahead of every decision that they make.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it kind of doesn't matter how long it took for them to get to this point. The fact that they're here is probably a good thing.
It's the important thing.
And getting, a little sanctimonious about it isn't really helping anything.
That is very true. I'm trying to see because he posted the comment twice.
Yeah.
Should I continue reading that part?
Yeah, read it. I mean,
that said, however, the Battlefield fans making a big hullabaloo about it is ridiculous. The marketing is super transparent, eye-roll worthy. I don't think that's true. But it's not like it's going to affect the quality of the game anyways. It'll still be Battlefield. I guarantee 99% of the people complaining are still going to buy the game because at the end of the day, they're going to want their little distraction from the real world. Man, this guy's hating on Battlefield, I feel like. But hey, I don't know.
I wonder if certain people, I'm not saying this guy, I'm not saying Thipple, would prefer it if the women didn't run as fast or something.
If there was a measurable gameplay difference between male and female characters.
God. Not calling you out or anything.
No, not Thipple.
Like the female characters.
Well, there's
pick
some
up
people out there.
LMGs or something because they're too heavy.
I'm serious. The people who get really upset about this shit, I mean, they'd probably prefer that, right?
I think some of the people who push it really far in terms of kind of the conservative end of the ideology definitely fall back on arguments of, well, it's not logical, or especially even if you're just talking about women serving in the military and the physical difference between men and women in combat roles and things like that. I think that is an argument that's brought up. I don't think it's brought up in good faith all the time.
No.
I don't think that there's a
Less
complete
headboard.
empirical.
The moment that enters the conversation, it's immediately
Yeah,
suspect.
it's
My
a
eyes
little-
squint and I'm like, what are you saying?
Right.
Where are we going with this? But yeah, I don't know. Not to mention, he talks about pandering to the political climate. I feel like the thing is, they're taking a risk. Sadly, I think they're in a position where they're doing this kind of thing, trying to make a statement like this. And I don't even know if they're trying to make a statement, but by doing this, they are basically asking for controversy because of the political climate. I don't know if that benefits them in the long run,
or maybe
from
the
a business
current
sense.
Political climate is affecting them in a positive way. You know,
Yeah.
Exactly.
that's like saying during the civil rights movement of like the 70s or whatever. You know?
Yeah, think of
We're
like
like,
Bioshock Infinite. You remember how they were like, oh, we did market research and decided not to put the girl on the cover. And now people that are making games are like,
Wait, was
hey,
she
we
not
don't
on
have
the
to
cover?
worry. We don't have to worry about stuff like
Was
that.
Elizabeth not on the cover?
She
of
wasn't.
Right.
What the fuck?
No, yeah, it was just kind of dude bro.
Oh, that's right. I remember the cover. Now. Yeah, that's kind of dumb. That's dumb. All right. You were very quiet there.
yeah,
Bradley.
I'm always a
Yeah,
little
I'm not-
low.
I'm
I'll
not
get
saying
up in
that.
this.
The Scud Destroyer brought up something in chat real quick. He said that there are good faith arguments about women in combat roles, which I agree with you. There is a discussion to be had about anybody's eligibility to be in a combat role. I'm just saying that a lot of times those are kind of propped up to kind of put a logical face to a otherwise illogical argument.
Yeah,
and especially when we're talking about a video game.
I like the way Scud Destroyer put it in chat. He says, Crispy's right. Those arguments are often leveraged to mask a sexist worldview. Very true.
Also, I think people just playing video games want the option to maybe play as a woman.
Hell yeah.
Especially since a lot of women play video games too, and fuck it. It's not like this is a history class.
Right.
It's a Battlefield video game.
Yep. All right. Drew327 says, Nick, that's me. I think if you are interested in Yakuza, play them on easy. Mainline the story, and I think they are 12 to 14 hour games.
Yeah.
Yakuza 5 may have been a bit longer. Wait, what'd you say, Brad? What's your take on that first sentence?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's like nothing of value added when you make the game harder. It's just not why you play that game.
Okay. I mean,
it only gets It only gets annoying the harder the game gets.
Right.
yeah, of course. I mean, I feel that way about a lot of games, but I don't know. It's always been kind of this like weird mental barrier for me, like trying to like force myself to switch to easy. It's just like the hardest thing in the world to do. It's just like I feel like I'm ruining my day.
I mean, it really
By
depends
switching
on
to-
the game too, you know.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah. Well,
because it's like a lot of those platinum games. Like you kind of have to start those on easy and then go back.
Or like FTL or Into the Breach. You start them on easy because it's impossible for you to learn how to play the game on normal when it's
Right.
punishing you all the time.
the Yakuza games aren't hard, anyways. I mean,
Right.
the first couple were hard because you can get into sequences.
Is Brad's mic off?
It's not off. It's not. I'm good. I'm good.
Sorry, I was
You
just...
can get into sequences where you didn't buy any healing items and you can't go back, and you have to fight a whole bunch of boss battles over again.
Yeah.
You know, but like modern Yakuza games aren't like that anyways. So, you know,
Yep. I mean, last week I only said that because I was Crispy. Since you weren't here, I was basically commenting that now that there are so many Yakuza games because they're remastering. Was it which ones are they?
They've
3,
done
4, and
one,
5.
they're
3, 4, and
two.
5.
the PS3.
I was like,
games.
now that there's so many of them, it's just like the whole
you know,
whole
there's
idea
been-
of playing the series is like completely overwhelming.
Do you know there's been 16 Yakuza games?
That's weird.
That is
Is at least one of those a kart racer?
No.
Ugh,
Although I wonder if he was in that Sonic Racing All Stars.
guys.
Kiryu? As a
I don't know.
character?
I don't know. There was a lot of Sega
Oh, that
characters.
I just want to say,
Yeah.
first of all, I know I'm shooting myself in the foot by
Oddly
saying, wait, no,
fitting.
I wasn't finished reading that.
Too
Sorry,
late.
I'll get back to
Ah.
it in a second. But I just wanted to say, I think it's kind of this is. I know these are not. This is apples to oranges here, and it's not a fair comparison per se. So before you jump on me, let me just get this out. We always kind of shit talk things like Assassin's Creed, which we're gonna talk about later, about having so many games. Yakuza literally had six games in the past 2 years, right? Is that a
Yeah.
fair assessment?
Yeah, that's
They
probably
had
That's
about right.
kind of fucking crazy, right?
Well, no shit. No one. Like
Not in a good way crazy.
I've been pleading for them to take some time off for years. And the one time that they did Binary Domain, they still put out like a Yakuza game that year. I'm pretty sure.
And you know what?
Yeah, the zombie one.
And you know what? The Binary Domain, the game they did when they were not making
It's dope,
is
man.
fucking dope.
Yeah, that game's dope.
That game is great. That game is also, isn't that? It's been a long time since I played that. It's also like strangely reminiscent. We're gonna talk about Detroit tonight, but like we were talking, Carlos and I were talking a little bit in Discord about games that have tried to tell kind of similar stories to Discord, and you had mentioned Soma
And the fall.
and the Fall about robots kind of becoming sentient kind of thing.
Like there's more
Wasn't
interesting
Binary
topics
Domain
you
kind
can
of the same
tackle.
thing?
What?
Wasn't Binary Domain kind of touching on the same topics a little bit too?
It was about robots that went bad. And they looked like people, so they could hide.
See? Close
Sure.
enough. Yeah, close enough.
And I'm pretty sure there were some strong metaphors in there, heavy-handed metaphors in there too.
Yep. Let me just finish off his comment. Drew continues saying, there is some goofy fun side stuff that you would miss, but as a lover of stories, I think you will get a lot out of the main stories in the games. It's a great mafia soap opera. Cool. I'm interested in the prospect of playing the series. I think of course I'm gonna start with 0 because that's what you do, and we'll just see how it goes from there.
You know, I do kind of disagree, but I'm not gonna. I think you should still try it because.
Wait, you disagree with me starting with 0?
No, absolutely start with 0.
Okay, I was about to say, what the fuck, Brad?
I disagree in that I'm not sure you'll get much out of the series, but I mean, it definitely doesn't hurt to try.
It does not hurt to try it, and if I was going to play any of them, I would start with 0 and just see how it goes.
For sure.
See how it goes.
It's also like the best one, so
yeah. I feel like gone are the days that we have lulls. You know what I'm talking about?
Lulls?
Like summer lulls,
We
not
need more
lulls.
games.
If you're plugged
lulls
in,
are different.
If you're plugged in, there's always something out there that you can.
But like
be playing.
we've been doing this for what, 10 years now, and I feel like first 5 years we were doing this. There's always like a summer lull. There was always time where like nothing was coming out.
Yeah.
That's
and we were
'cause
always
the
had time to
industry's
kind of go
different
back.
now, you know,
Industry
and
is
now
different.
there's like 30 games on Steam that come out every day.
And we all have a little less time to play.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
our
yeah.
backlogs kind of persist a little longer.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Anyways, thank you guys so much for your feedback from last week. Again, if you would like to chime in on tonight's episode, please drop us a comment at 4playernetwork.com on the post for this episode, and we will read it at the start of next week's show, which, by the way, is the last regular show before E3. Boom! It's coming up fast. I'm so excited. All right. Video games. We got games to talk about. We usually start with the big one, the kind of the new hotness, right?
But instead,
I am kind of dreading this conversation, so we can start with something else.
there's a game that came out today.
Today. It's always a pleasure, Carlos. What game came out today?
Overload.
Overload.
Overload. Well, it officially came out of early access today.
Spiritual successor to Descent.
Are y'all familiar with Descent?
Yes.
It's a 90.
Six,
Yeah, I
6
remember,
degrees of freedom shooter.
Yeah.
We met these Overload guys at PAX West 2 years
Yeah.
ago. They were really nice.
Oh,
They keep
nice.
sending me builds of the game and everything.
So yeah, it's a mid 90s kind of that Doom era.
Is this
shooter.
like a super colorful, like Doom-esque, or no?
No.
Oh, no.
This is a 6 degrees of freedom shooter.
Dude, this looks like Forsaken.
Yes,
that's
yes,
exactly what it
Forsaken
is.
Was a Descent-like. Oh no, what's wrong with the footage?
It's okay. It's okay, Brad.
No, come on, man.
Well, this is an audio podcast, Brad. Just roll with
Okay.
it. It looks cool. I know it's chugging, but it looks
Fuck. So this is like very Descent.
Holy
like
shit.
Some of the original creators of Descent made this game, and they pretty much just made a new Descent, like straight up. The environments, the enemies you're fighting, the way it controls. You even have the like Descent 2 introduced a little a hologram bot that would take you to the exit, because the thing about Descent and Overload is that you're in these traditionally labyrinthine Doom style maps, except because you can go in all directions, they start going up and down as well as left and right and forward and backwards, right? So you get all these weird twisting tunnels and stuff that are feeding into like other big large areas, and it can get really confusing. Even though the map's really good, I feel like the map in Descent maybe has always been pretty good, but
Man,
it's real easy to get lost because you can go like up.
I have not played a Descent-like game since the N64.
Yeah, no, and I don't remember if Forsaken was that good, but it is definitely this type of game, and this is like a really like impressive recreation of Descent, basically. Honestly, I haven't seen them do that much new. I've only played a handful of levels, but it doesn't matter because you don't really see this type of game anymore.
Yeah.
It's
nuts.
there was a roguelike that came out a couple years ago.
Sub-Level Zero?
Yeah.
I played a beta of Sub-Level Zero and Overload to compare them, and Overload is way better.
Yeah, I mean, and that's like a procedurally generated roguelike. This is a
level design.
Designed, game. And
there's like secrets and shit, and in
Lots
some
of
cases,
secrets,
like finding the secrets is necessary for you to progress through the level.
Not just that, but you can find like upgrade points because there is like upgrade trees in this game. And there wasn't really too much of that in the previous Descent games. I mean, you can like upgrade weapons and stuff, I think, but here you can like upgrade all aspects of your ship, which is really cool. And it just has a really nice look to it. Everything blows up real good. It runs real smooth, although it's kind of hard to tell with this footage. What the fuck happened? But that's fine. And yeah,
this is out as of today, like full release. It's out.
Let me chime in with something real quick. You said it looks really good. I played a bunch of it today also to kind of have a good idea of it, like a recent one because I've been playing it before. But then I also fired up some YouTube videos of Descent 1 and 2 to kind of compare how they look like, and the environments in this one are very samey. Like I looked at the first level from Descent, I looked at a playthrough, and there was a lot more variety in like textures and environment look and
how
color
much of
lighting
this have
and
you
stuff.
played?
I played 3 levels of this.
Okay.
But I mean, I'm saying just one level of Descent had more variety in it than this whole first level of this.
But I mean, you get into like caves and stuff.
Yeah, but I mean, but like on the Descent one, you also get into like different environments, but they're much more colorful than this. Like here, from this first one, it's just gray all the time, and then you go out into some mines, and then you go back into the gray. The Descent one has like color lighting moving all over the place and stuff. It looks more interesting.
I'm wondering if that kind of changes as the game goes on. I mean,
and
I'm not sure how long these
it also
games
looks
are.
a little cleaner. Like all the particle effects that come out when you shoot enemies make it a little hard to see sometimes.
Not just that, but because you have less. I mean, it was pretty basic flat textures back then, so it was just kind of easier to see enemies and whatnot. Here, they can really kind of sneak up on you because of I guess the more modern like textures and lighting system and whatnot. But if I don't know, I have to see more levels to kind of decide. But I definitely see what you're talking about. I do wonder if I guess if I've had any problems with the game at this point, it would be that it's so faithful to Descent 1 and 2 that it's kind of like missing the opportunity to maybe
try something new,
to feel a little more modern. Like for example, in Descent, all the enemies were these floating robots, and it makes sense that they're floating enemies because the nature of the way the maps are designed, and the way that there is no up and down. You could just flip all around. So you kind of have to have things that are like floating more or less. And the different enemy robots are different enemy types, and they do behave differently.
It's
and
a little
do
hard to
different
tell.
things.
It's a little hard to tell them apart at times.
It's hard to tell them apart. Yeah, and it might have been a little easier back then to kind of tell them apart. But that's besides the point. I feel like maybe they should have done, instead of been so faithful, they should have kind of found some ways to make some different.
You know what modern
acting enemy
reimagining of a
types.
classic game had that same problem? Strafe. Like on Strafe, the enemy designs are not done very well, and they like blend into the environment a lot. It's really hard to see them.
That's just because
that's a bad game.
Was a yeah.
It's a bad game.
They just didn't get it. These guys, they get it, but they're just Descent was kind of an early. Like, I mean,
it's cool to see the style of game, but they kind of missed an opportunity.
It's
to
really fun.
differentiate
It's really
it.
fun.
It's fun because it controls really well.
Yeah, someone's asking what is the control scheme like. I will say that whenever you play this back in the day, like to rotate your ship, it was like unlocked, right? Like it would just rotate in one direction. And this one, you can set it to where it only rotates in increments.
Yeah.
So it's easy for you to like return to being completely upside down.
Which is what I use.
Or oriented to the
Wait, that's what
floor.
you're using right now while you're flying around?
The rolls I.
Gotcha. So instead of just being a completely free roll, like it goes in.
Because it can get really disoriented.
Then it's hard to like
imagine.
get yourself back to like a 180 degree.
Yeah, like they've really kind of refined this control scheme, and it makes me want to these guys. I don't know if this thing's going to be successful or not. I hope it is, because what evolved from the Descent games was eventually Free Space, which was this type of game but out in space, and it became that typical that more that space shooter, genre that we all know and love. And I think Free Space 2 is one of the most beloved in the space shooter genre, and it would be cool if after this they did a Free Space.
We don't get many of those types of games anymore, do we?
Well, fucking Volition used to make these back in the day. I mean, Volition formed from people that made Descent back in the day, and they also did Free Space 2, and they can make this type of game. It's very frustrating. Be nice, because I'm pretty sure they're owned by THQ now, right? Volition?
Isn't it Nordic?
Yeah, THQ Nordic. And I believe
did they get the studio or just the IP that they had?
No, they have all of it now since they bought Deep Silver.
Oh.
So I'm pretty sure they have Volition. They have, I think, the Free Space IP. Man,
someone should go do some research out there and find out.
That'd be
I'd be
nice.
curious to know. Not that
I will add that Free
from
Space is very playable nowadays with mods, and it looks really good and it plays really well.
and Descent is too. Like, there's a
there's a source port for it.
yeah, exactly.
And there's a Forsaken one coming pretty soon too. From the
Forsaken?
from the same guy that does the Turok ones.
Oh, the Night Dive?
Yeah.
They're
not
really...
not Night Dive. There's like one dude that does did like Doom 64 and
Doom,
Turok.
But like, is Forsaken really that like loved?
I mean, if it's more of this and there's not a lot of this, I mean, you'll take whatever you can get,
Yeah, that's true.
We'll see.
But it's cool. I mean, I was having fun just because it plays like a dream, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, it's really cool. You know what I also like the missiles, they shoot intermittently from both of your sides. So there's a little indicator that tells you which missile is about to fire from which side. So sometimes you have to like orient your shots a little bit. If your missile's coming from the right and your enemy's moving towards the left, you have to like angle your shot a little bit.
That's another thing where I think they're so beholden to the legacy or whatever. I feel like in the original Descents just had a bunch of different like missile types.
Yeah.
And so does this game. And I kind of wish that they got a little crazier with the weapon types. You know what I mean? So it doesn't just seem like a bunch of different kinds of missiles. They kind of,
in
crazier,
sub-level 0, you can craft your own weapons. You can like combine different weapon types to make like a laser shotgun and stuff.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
But the game is not as fun as this one.
I hope this game doesn't just turn out to feel kind of like a one-trick pony. Like it looks like a lot of fun to control, but like I feel like
is making a Descent game again. They achieved it.
Yeah.
Although I don't think you could ram enemies in Descent 1 or 2.
I don't think so. You're supposed to gain armor whenever you ram enemies on this one, but I wasn't able to.
You can charge them.
Like check it out.
Interesting. Well, are you gonna keep playing it?
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun.
Anybody know how much it is on Steam?
It's $24.
$24.
I like complex level design.
I think we
with
got
lots of
emails
secrets.
too about review copy.
Oh shit!
My
Gotta
buddy
go.
Krispy.
Oh man. Anyways, that is Overload.
I'll buy it.
I was about to say Descent.
That's how good it is.
You'll buy it?
I really
Carlos
apologize for that footage. I don't know why it did that.
Hopefully, we'll get some better, cleaner footage for the actual video.
Well, the footage is fine. It's.
I hope my Detroit footage isn't weird. It wasn't when we tested it earlier. We'll see what happens. Anyways, are we ready to have this conversation about Detroit?
What are you so afraid of?
Dude, okay. I'm not really okay. Detroit Become Human.
Is
a game.
Before we talk about this,
Okay.
Can I suggest something? As someone,
Absolutely.
As someone who did, speech and debate all my entire high school career.
Yep.
A lot of people assume that debating is just like being good at arguing, right? But like, it's so much
More than that?
preparation.
Yeah, of course.
It's you're coming up with like you.
Yeah,
want to predict like every single thing your opponent or that opposing view is going to say, so you can prepare answers.
I'm waiting for the suggestion.
I'm saying if you're so concerned going into a conversation where you're going to be on one side and someone else is going to be on the other, just prepare. Even if that person doesn't say,
I feel like I'm prepared.
What you think they're going to say, just say, you know what, just be prepared.
I feel like I'm prepared.
Okay.
I don't have any notes written down.
Don't be nervous about this. I
don't have any notes written down.
I don't think anybody is going to say anything that conflicts with anything that anybody else is saying tonight.
I believe
No,
that.
I completely agree.
I think we're all going to say a bunch of things that are true about the game at the same time.
I completely agree with Krispy on this fact. But the thing is, this is one. I think there is a little bit of baggage that comes along with this game, as I think does with any Quantic Dream game. One, because it's
because of the history.
because of the history of the studio and how the figurehead of the studio is a very how would you describe it, Brad? I don't know. I don't want to say
problematic.
Well,
problematic.
I mean, based on his history or based on the more recent developments of him maybe being a piece of crap?
Historically, I mean, no.
Now he's like suing media outlets and
yeah,
stuff.
I'm kind of, I'm leaving. I kind of want to leave out the controversial development stuff because yes, this game was development hell. There was all kinds of controversy there in the actual development of this game. I'm talking specifically about how Quantic Dream and David Cage have handled the writing and production of all of their games. Yeah. From Indigo Prophecy, Heavy Rain, Beyond Two Souls. That's what that game was called? Beyond Two Souls?
Yeah.
And now Detroit Become Human.
Don't forget Omicron, the Nomad Soul.
I did not know that was Quantic Dream.
And Fahrenheit.
But Fahrenheit is Indigo Prophecy.
Yeah.
You knew.
Bro. But yeah, so a certain amount of baggage comes along with it. He's a very polarizing... Or the studio, I guess, the games the studio makes are very polarizing. There is
they
stuff...
actually review pretty well. It's David Cage because he gets into these interviews and he's very like high on himself, and then it's not that the games are bad, but sometimes he's the writer on all of these games.
Yeah, that's one thing I kept thinking to myself while I was playing through Detroit Become Human, which I finished last night. Was that I feel like there's a lot of potential with this game. I'm actually pretty high on it. I enjoyed it quite a bit, but like the entire time I was thinking about it and playing it.
He's like a Lars von Trier of video games.
What is going on?
This
was not happening.
Just pretend that they're robots, and that they don't walk very smoothly.
Movement makes sense.
That's weird though.
It's not as bad as
that's true.
Overload.
Anyways, what I was trying to say was, what the fuck was I trying to say? What was I saying right before? When I got distracted?
About David Cage and how you like this game.
Oh, I was thinking while I was playing the game, I was thinking to myself, like, I think from a base level, I think the story has a lot of potential there. But I kind of wish David Cage was more of in charge of like coming up with the concepts and not like for actually writing the story. I feel like maybe for me personally, like less so. And honestly, when we're talking about this game, I feel like it's going to be impossible to avoid conversations about the story. But I feel like the things I want to say, I think, have more to do with the way the game is designed. Because obviously it does have a lot of the same issues that some of the other David Cage games do in terms of their writing. But what sucks is that it's kind of hard to separate the two when you're talking about them. Because this game is so story... Like, the mechanics and the story are so interwoven, it's kind of impossible to separate them.
Well, I mean, I agree and disagree to some extent. In that I think there is a lot you can admire about the gameplay and the mechanics while still kind of rolling your eyes at a lot of the story flaws.
Yeah.
Because, that's kind of how I play these games.
Sure.
I get invested in the story and the characters, but if we're talking about like themes and stuff and maybe kind of the way that stuff is handled, you can still cringe at some of the stuff.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but like a lot of the cringe and like eye rolling comes from like how heavy-handed he is with it. Like he thinks he's being clever when he's not.
Like I can really care what's happening to Connor in a scene, but still roll my eyes at the androids in the back of the bus,
Yeah.
I feel like that has been extremely representative of my playthrough. I'm on the last chapter. I haven't finished it yet. But, I went into this game expecting a train wreck.
Yes.
And the game has actually really won me over.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really enjoying it. And like, I was having a moment yesterday where I just wanted to play like 1 or 2 chapters, and I ended up blasting through like 5 of them. You know? It's because...
That happened to me several times.
This game, when the action is up, like when it's kind of, all response and it's character interaction and it's like Connor and Hank or it's Kara and Alice, things like that, I care,
Yeah.
Like I'm into it and that is really fun and really engaging. But every time the quote unquote point of the game, which, David Cage has said this game has no message. This game. Has
Wait, did he
nothing to
actually say it had no message?
He did.
Like,
do
yourself a favor,
was
never read a David Cage interview.
Yeah, which is bullshit.
I feel like he shoots his games in the foot more than...
God, he's like Dennis Dyack, If you never hear him speak and just play his games, it seems fine.
Yeah,
Wow.
and it's like... So I can really enjoy a lot of like moment to moment things. I really enjoy the characters. I love the actors. I think everyone is on their game.
That's one
It's
thing.
way improved.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think a lot of this is on point. There's not a lot of dialogue that feels like clunky or extraneous or anything like that. I just think that the worldview of the game and like the overall conceit of most of maybe all of it is extremely misguided. I think this game just really doesn't get what it's trying to be about. And it is trying to be about something. It has a lot of scenes that are very much about like pushing a moral, about like a message, and you know, it's never really any more focused than racism's bad, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that
there could have been some more nuance there.
Nuance is not David Cage's
This is a
strong
really,
suit.
I mean, this is a really weird example of a story that like we've seen before. Like there are famous examples of stories like doing basically what David Cage is trying to do here.
How nuanced would you say District 9 was, for example?
I don't think District 9 is very nuanced at all. I think it hits some of the same stumbling blocks that this game does, but I don't think it does it. I don't know, maybe that's a cultural view because I'm not as familiar with South African culture, but I think that maybe it doesn't do it as often or consistently as this game does, because this game really does.
Yeah, it wears its message on
but
its
I don't-
sleeve.
I don't
This
like-
is what
I
the
really
game
don't
is
think-
actually about.
I don't really think that District 9 is all that scalpel sharp either. But you know, that's just me.
District 9 detractor.
I enjoy that movie. I really like it, and I've watched everything that Neil Blomkamp has put out. I followed his career. I think it's great. I just, you know, I think the thing with this game, I'm not talking about District 9, but I think the thing with this game is that it wants to say something, but, you know, it doesn't know why it wants to say that, and the way it goes about saying that is really kind of ham-fisted, really kind of ignorant to subtlety, which I think is
ignorance to subtlety. I think is the perfect way of describing this game.
Right, which I think is a quality that has made other similar stories, like very similar. I'm talking about like other stories about, you know, sentient androids that deal with the ideas of like slavery and oppression and other things that it lacks. That I think it lacks a certain bit of insight that a lot of those other productions have. Most chiefly, I'm thinking of like the Blade Runner movies. I'm also thinking Westworld, because I've been watching that, so that's kind of been in my mind.
God, there are so many examples.
You just named like a prestige film and like prestige television, like.
For sure.
With video games, especially, like, this genre is very common, and I feel like these themes are very common. And we were talking about it earlier, but, like, in fantasy as well, like, there's...
The thing is...
analogous...
And I thought more about what you were talking about, because we did talk about the parallels between this and, like, things in fantasy, where
like the elves or
I think there is a huge... I think there's something to be said about the fact that fantasy and sci-fi typically can deal with these subjects very well, because they have a lot of flexibility in time and setting and in culture and in the sort of power structures that they're trying to recreate. They're not being so slavishly devoted to recreating real life power structures that exist in our world that we can point to as a matter of history and say, you got this wrong, you didn't do this right. You know what I'm saying? Like
they separate. They're better at separating themselves from reality.
Blade Runner, Blade Runner 2049, even the original novel to a degree, Do Enter Stream of Electric Sheep, they all deal with these themes. Like, they do deal with this theme of, like, a caste system, of oppressed people, of the idea of personhood, but they also couple these ideas, and the same thing is true in a lot of fantasy, too. They couple these ideas to other themes and other, like, interconnecting ideas that may not be directly related, but are very much neighboring, very much connected to each other. Those questions bring up the idea of androids' personhood and autonomy as a matter of, as a byproduct, as a condition of consciousness and sentience, of self-awareness. And they spend as much time, if not more, exploring those ideas and kind of letting the insight that those ideas have inform our thoughts about the caste systems that they present.
Yeah.
To kind of round things out, and they deal with this stuff in abstraction, at least when compared to something like this, you know?
Yeah.
Like, they're not so in your face, they're not so direct. I mean, this is for all intents and purposes a really pulpy, kind of schlocky story.
Yeah.
Not that that's a bad thing, but this is it's a really weird well for him to draw from when he doesn't really want to say anything, because that's what he said. He said he doesn't want to say anything with the game, and
but he picked a hell of a topic.
And the story isn't really constructed in a way to say anything.
Yeah.
It does by nature of the fact that it's dealing with the subject matter that it's dealing with, and all forms of art are in some way inherently political.
Yeah.
At some level.
But it doesn't set itself up in such a way that it's there to say anything new that we didn't already know.
For it to be as kind of shallow as it is, and for it to couple itself so directly to the kind of imagery and iconography of American mid-20th century civil rights movements, is really problematic. And it's a dicey thing to do. What you run the risk of is kind of, when you're trying to take your story and couple it to like real life history like that, you have to be mindful that you're not basically trivializing the history of it.
Yeah.
And when you misstep, when you don't treat that with enough respect, or you don't have enough care to refine your point of view or your message, you do end up trivializing that a little bit.
Yeah.
I do kind of feel like that pretty frequently in this game. I
think they this may or may not be directly related to what you're saying, but like one of the things that kind of stood out to me, one of the things that drove me crazy when I was playing this game, because I can, like you said, I can get sucked into a session of playing this game and get like easily like, I can't stop playing. I'm so into this, like the characters and everything, and then I get hit with the moment where because they refer to the androids who are becoming self-aware as deviants, right?
As deviants.
And they came up with this like super contrived, like basic ass imagery for how they reach that, they have that epiphany or whatever, right? Like they literally freeze time, and they show you a wall in front of you, and you have to like tap buttons to like break through the wall, and they break through the wall, and then they're just like
the metaphorical
wall,
wall of their program.
And I was like and it's just because it's
corny, but it's like a cool visual.
It's a cool visual, but I don't feel like it treats the audience like
I'm sorry.
Like they have, it doesn't treat the audience like they're very like they're particularly smart.
I think, yeah, I agree with that, and I think the problem with leaving off like some of those other themes that I was talking about before, like this game, for all that it wants to talk about race and all it wants to talk about, like, you know, quote unquote human and android relations or whatever, it is not at all interested in talking about consciousness. It is not at all interested in talking about what sort of innate factors designate personhood. You know, it is not interested in really defining those terms. It's kind of just saying like, oh, the little ring on the side of their head went from blue to red. Now they're a person.
They do occasionally show you like the androids can fall in love with each other.
They do, but
like never more than that,
because that's a real low point in this game. That is a real low point.
Easy. Let's not talk too much about that.
But I mean, like it basically just tells you, oh, they can experience these emotions, but they never tell you what that means or why. I'm saying,
yeah, exactly. They don't really express where this is coming from. It's just like, oh, it's just a thing that happens, and now they're people.
None of this happened in my game.
And the problem is, if you're
this didn't happen in my game either. I was
if you're not concerned with like dealing with that or exploring that, but you're still coupling this story to like very real historical events. The problem is that the power structure in this world does not really match the power structures that were play in, you know, mid-20th century America, in the time of the first, you know, real big civil rights push. It doesn't matter, because there's a certain inherent difference between the relationship between the humans and the androids in this game than there is between relations of black people and white people and people of other color in the real world. You know, I mean, like that. I don't know. You
It's
can,
honestly
you can
why I
scoff
find-
at that.
I don't think anyone's scoffing at
But-
it. It's honestly why I find all of these allegories in this medium and others
Yeah.
kind of obnoxious.
Yeah.
I feel like it's
I mean,
I
this
don't
whole
think that's
idea-
exclusive to Detroit.
no.
I just
but
think David
I don't
Cage is
think that-
particularly bad at it.
I don't think that is exclusive to Detroit, and I think that is why other pieces that have kind of dealt with the same thing, maybe a little smarter, haven't gone as all in on it as David Cage does, and his lack of instinct to prevent him from doing that and to just like make that the 100% laser focus of this game is a huge part of why the narrative in the 30,000 foot view doesn't why the analogy doesn't work.
Yeah.
Can I explain why, despite all that, even me going into this game knowing that, I still kind of enjoy what I've played of this? And
Please do, because
Quantic Dream
I've
games.
been really enjoying it too.
Well, I think the reason the Quantic Dream games are successful, at least the ones I've played, is because the game does a really good job, both in like on a meta level, or I mean, in the world and in terms of mechanics at the start of the game, establishing stakes, which I think is so important in a game where you're making a lot of decisions, and it makes. I mean, and like Telltale games and stuff do that too, but I find like Quantic Dream games a lot more exciting than Telltale games, and I think it's because of ever since Heavy Rain, they've established. I guess this is kind of a spiritual successor to Heavy Rain, so I've been comparing it a lot to that. But it does a lot of things similar, where no matter what, the narrative carries on. That's the thing that they kind of said was going to happen in Heavy Rain, and that's what happens here. And I think that makes.
Can I kind of interject there too with something just to kind of build off of that specific point you just made? Because I enjoyed Heavy Rain a lot too, and the thing that I think the thing that I think sets this apart from that, and also honestly, I was thinking about this a lot because I probably don't play a lot of these like make your own story like point and click adventure type games or Telltale style games, but of the ones that I've played, I think Detroit Become Human is probably my favorite, and I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that at the very end of every chapter, it does the thing where it lays out the flowchart, right?
Which I don't even think you need to see that.
No, here's the thing. I think the flowchart is super important to what makes this game appealing, because
it definitely plays into the whole reward structure in the game of like making you play it again.
Because everybody loves to ask, and I get this question a lot. I've seen, and everybody when they talk about these games, they ask this question a lot: is do your choices actually matter, or is it total bullshit? And I think without seeing the flowchart, it's really easy to just assume. And one, because these games are predominantly meant to be played and played once, and if you play it again, you're kind of tainting your experience. It's best to play through it, react, and that's your story, which is the way I played it and the way I continue to go forward. But like when you don't see the flowchart and the actual branching effects and like the amount of stuff that you missed, it becomes really easy to assume that your choices didn't really matter.
You know what? I felt like back when we were playing Heavy Rain or Indigo Prophecy or whatever, we didn't. I don't think it was necessary, because I don't think we automatically assumed that our choices didn't matter, because there was no reason for us to assume that our choices didn't matter. I feel like now in the era of like a new Telltale series every year, and those have become real popular, and we've been talking to other people, and we know that our choices don't matter.
But I think they do matter.
I think we've become a little like desensitized to these games where like all you're doing are making our choices.
Yeah.
But in reality, I don't think it matters. Well, I think if the end goal was the same, which it wasn't in Heavy Rain. I mean, you could end up that story with like most of the characters dead or like much different characters alive. It didn't matter because they established the stakes. Your player characters can die, and that makes, no matter what the end result is, in the moment, every decision you're making, like, really tense, really exciting.
It does.
And I don't think I even have to see that chart to care, and I think that's why I cared even back then with their older games, and it's why I cared in, like, Until Dawn.
Sure.
Which is, like, very much like a Heavy Rain clone.
Yes, and and
it succeeds for the same reasons.
Yes, and I feel like I enjoyed this game for a lot of the same reasons I enjoyed Until Dawn. But one thing that I think... back when Heavy Rain was the big thing, everyone was talking about how it was always about the playable characters. Any of your playable characters can die at any moment, and that was kind of thing. I feel like that's still the case here, but to a much less extent, especially because they're androids. They have the conceit of they die. They can all there's usually ways to write around that and like explain them back into the story.
It's not just the main characters. It's that no matter what happens in the story with the decisions you make, the story's going to go on.
Yes, but
it's not just your player character.
There
are other big decisions.
There are several examples that I can think of just in my playthrough alone of where what mattered was not your main characters. Like the big like earth-shattering like effects of your decisions didn't usually affect the main characters the way as much as it affected the people around you, because there's a lot of really important supporting characters in this game that I think are all pretty great. And Krispy, you told me you had a situation like me where I made a decision and it resulted in something and I was like, fuck, I feel like I fucked my game, which I feel like everybody has in these kinds of games. But in my case, it was a supporting character that I cared a lot about, that was impacted by my decisions or the order in which I did things, and not the actual main character who I was controlling. And because they go into so much detail in that flowchart, I got to a point in like the second to third last chapter of the game where it showed me in the flowchart a decision I made at like chapter 2 that showed me that this whole scene that you're seeing right now only exists because of a decision you made in chapter 2 or 3.
It is kind of stark when you look at that flowchart and see like, it'll have little sections with other branches coming into it, or like you'll see one part of the story like at the very beginning of the chapter where it looks like the chapter could have started like 4 other ways.
Yeah.
And it's like the magnitude of like how many little details could have been completely different. Like there was one scene where it's like arrived at the crime scene with Hank, Yeah. And it's like, how else would that have started? But apparently there was 4 other ways that could have started, So like, what does that mean about Connor's relationship with Hank at this point in the story if I had done something, 2 or 3 chapters ago? And I do like the flowchart in kind of like pointing that out. Like some things in there are real, like I never would have known that aspect could have been affected if I hadn't known that was one of multiple outcomes. That's really interesting. The specific thing I was talking about to you on Twitter, though, is actually one of my biggest, maybe only real serious technical complaint with that whole setup, in that this story does have choke points.
Yeah.
It does have these points where there are going to be fewer possible outcomes because it's a story,
and they want to make sure you hit certain story points.
Right, it's a story, and certain things are going to happen kind of in a certain way either way.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen all that often, but as you start getting towards the end of the game, there are some pretty big things, and I don't want to spoil anything for anybody, but basically I was put in a position where I had to make a choice off the cuff, and it didn't make any sense to me because I don't even know how to explain it.
It was a writing issue.
Basically, there was an issue. Yeah, there was an issue where, so like I've been playing my game, and Hank and Connor in my game have been friends. After he saved his life a few times, like they kind of got close.
Chummy.
Yeah, and Hank is like really like warm to Connor, and has been encouraging him to like explore this idea that like, maybe he's not just this programming kind of thing, And there's a point in the game where things happen, Connor's doing something, other characters in the story, like the other main characters of the story, are going to be affected by this thing he's about to do.
Yeah.
And he's the only one that can really do it in the moment. But Hank has to help him, and because of circumstances, Hank has to confirm his identity.
Oh yeah.
Okay. And the way he does that is by asking him a question. And I got that question wrong. And it was like worst case scenario that came out of it. The problem was, because of my playthrough, the answer to that question had never come up because Hank had never offered it. So in reality, in a curated like linear story, Hank would have known that was not the solution to the problem at hand. He would have known not to ask that because he knows he never told Connor this thing. And yet, in this like really crucial moment of like my characters are about to die, that's what he falls back on.
Yeah.
And you can say like, oh well, maybe you should have asked him about it sooner, or maybe you should have done something
But it shouldn't have
different.
even come
but
up
the
at that
problem
point.
is, it shouldn't have come up because it doesn't make logical sense in any other view other than this is a multi-branching narrative game. These characters don't know they're in a multi-branching narrative game, so that shouldn't be part of their reasoning, and that's the only way in which this situation playing out the way it does kind of makes sense.
Yeah, and actually the same thing happened to me. Like the moment, because you kind of hinted at what you were talking, because you were farther than me. When I hit that point, I was like, I think I know exactly what happened to Krispy. And yeah, those things do kind of break the illusion at a certain point.
Surfacing all that stuff is weird. I think that people just like that stuff because I think there were a lot of complaints before they surfaced all that stuff. Like, what's really happening? I think ever since Telltale's did this character will remember this or whatever, and then they started introducing percentages of what the community picked, and then they did that in Life is Strange.
That's true, but like in this particular scenario, it would be like if they got to a scene where they were relying on information that you would have said this character is going to remember this, but that moment never happened, yet they still wrote it.
I know. I'm just saying that surfacing that more info to the player in these types of games has become kind of popular.
You're right, and honestly, there are moments
almost as a reaction.
I think considering how first of all, this game I think it's meatier than I thought it was going to be. I feel like Heavy Rain was like a fairly short game. I remember it being like 6 or something.
You just made the wrong
No.
Was it?
No. All Quantic Dreams games are pretty.
I feel
way longer than you'd expect.
I mean, I feel like this game is way longer than I was expecting, and I feel like it goes places I never expected it to go. And for the most part, when it comes to like scenario writing, I feel like it's pretty good at hiding those inconsistencies. But when it does something like that does happen, which it happened in my game and it happened in Krispy's game, just maybe with worse side effects on Krispy's end, it kind of breaks the illusion, and that kind of sucks. But I also feel like there's so much happening. It's bound to happen a few times throughout the game.
Like it's striking how different a person's experience it can be in this game versus another person's.
And who recorded this footage? By the way?
And that's
why didn't you save Hank?
No. So I did that because I recorded the footage today, and I was specifically trying to do what I didn't do last time.
I'm sorry.
I'm not really an asshole.
That's been bothering me for a few minutes.
Oh, yeah.
Like you being a real dick to Hank.
I know. Did this today.
I still feel like Quantic Dream does this type of game better than their competitors, despite having maybe more questionable writing than like these Telltale games or
I
Life
think
is
we're
Strange
beyond
or Until
maybe.
Dawn.
I think we're beyond maybe on that qualifier. I mean,
Yeah.
it is. I mean, it is clumsy at best, and some parts are real.
No, but
Or close to irresponsible.
What I'm saying
but
is,
yeah,
despite that, I still think that what ultimately, in terms of a gameplay experience, what all these games are trying to achieve is the same thing.
Sure.
And it's not just to tell a story. It's that the player's choice in that story and control over that story. I feel like that aspect is what Quantic Dream still does better than the rest. And I find myself like so bored during a lot of these Telltale games, even the ones I end up really liking.
Yeah.
Like here,
this game got me hooked.
Those moments are real. Like, I mean, those moments are real great. Like they feel wonderful. Where it's like something emergent is happening in the moment, and you've got 10 seconds to make a choice, and you know that. You may have 3 choices, and they are all impactful.
Yeah.
Like, something big is going to come out of anything you do. Those are really good moments, and it's been sustained by the fact that the game has been very consistent on following through with that,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, everything about this game, like the body and the heart and the mind, not the mind maybe so much, but like the structure of the game, a lot of the aesthetic details of this game are really great. I just wish that, like, the ethos of it was
I totally agree.
Not so.
You know what I'm just super shocked about? This is more of just on a general level. Like, I started this game because I was like, well, yeah, I'm going to play this game. Of course I'm going to play this game. It's a PS4 exclusive. It's, I liked Heavy Rain to a degree. But, like, I wasn't expecting a whole lot out of this game, especially coming, like, right off the heels of God of War.
Yeah.
But, man, this game did a lot of things, spoke to me in a lot of ways, despite its flaws. Like, had a fantastic time playing this game. Like, I don't think I've ever had this much fun playing this style of game. Until Dawn maybe comes close, but I think Until Dawn in some cases may be a little bit clumsier. I really like the way the UI works. I really like the way everything's really easy to kind of follow and interact with, and I love that. But like just the sheer amount of things that happen where you realize, like, shit, I'm seeing decisions that I've made hours ago in this game come back and have an impact on the story later on. Like, that stuff is really cool. There's even like these really creative, like, cool scenarios that obviously, like Krispy said, I don't want to spoil. But like, I got to a moment where I was like, I have to analyze something and make a decision and figure something out, and all of like everything that I need to use to like get out of this scenario is stuff that was basically from like 4 or 5 different chapters that happen across the rest of the game. And I was like, oh shit! And I'm seeing like in front of me like all these. I was like, oh shit! I missed something.
Yeah, you're seeing like how many different spaces are like empty or missing.
Yeah, and I'm just like,
wow, that.
I fucked up, but like there was still a way to like get out of it. Like it's just it's so good. That stuff is really well done. And if you liked something like Until Dawn, I think this game is absolutely worth your time. And honestly, maybe this is easily far and away like my favorite Quantic Dream game. But a lot of that I think comes from the fact that I think I didn't really like Indigo Prophecy because of all the crazy weird batshit insane stuff they do towards the end of that game.
That's what makes it good.
I mean, I guess it depends on how you look at it.
I kind of show up for that stuff.
Well, yeah, I mean, I can understand that. By the way, I didn't mean to fuck that up. Yeah, I don't know. This game has some problems, but I think it's also very much worth your time if you're really into this.
Can I ask Krispy if he still believes that like David Cage's intent on using these themes is like capitalistic?
I think David Cage is a capitalist. Yeah, I don't think David Cage is a hand-wringing, mustache-twirling villain.
He might actually be.
I think he might be.
He very well could be.
But I'm saying, I think that he is. I think like what you were saying, he's kind of a fucking rube. Yeah. And I don't, at a certain point, his, whether or not he had hate in his heart while he's like making some of these decisions he's making is kind of irrelevant. It's the fact that he is kind of capitalizing on some shit that maybe shouldn't.
But this game was developed in development for such a long time, and if you go if you go back and watch that Kara demo, like it's already like she's like, oh, so I'm a kind of property, I know. I think it's more that these kind of heavy-handed themes have sort of become a genre cliche, and he just doesn't have an original idea in his body.
I think that is absolutely true, and I think there are going to be a lot of people out there who really like that kind of fiction who maybe don't, see it the same way I do, or maybe don't see the broader real-world implications to things like that in the same way that I do. Or a lot of people do. I mean, apparently, I'm not the only one. Who feels this way about this game. But I think at a certain point, intent is a little bit irrelevant. I think at a certain point.
No. I think that you're right, but you had a different position about his intent.
No, well. Again, I think he did the things that I'm saying he did. I think he is mining, a different culture's very, very, still fresh wound about a very touchy subject that, like, if anything is just as prevalent and just as inflamed today as it has been the last 30, 40 years.
The timing could have been better.
I think that the timing of it is kind of all wrong. I think that. I don't think he did that because he was like, white guys, we're the best, but I think he's as much a businessman as anything.
Sure.
And
I'm saying I don't think this game would have been any different if it came out 10 years ago.
What I'm saying is he will let the game and he will let the marketing imply that this game has something important to say all fucking day long. And the second you push him on it, he's going to fall back to, no, I'm not saying anything. I don't have an opinion, because he's covering his fucking ass. And I think that's disingenuous and
I didn't read this interview, but
kind of scummy.
It's weird.
Kind of scummy.
I'm surprised he said that because he's usually the opposite. He's the one talking
it's probably been years of people telling him, "No, you're wrong."
Well, I mean, he's usually the one saying, "Man, I'm going to make you feel something," and that's what makes people eye roll at him a lot.
I mean, I don't know. I'm just saying. I'm not saying that nobody. I'm not saying that certain people don't have a right to tell certain stories about certain things. I'm not like trying to censor David Cage or anything. I'm just saying if you're going to come into this particular subject matter and you're going to try to make a lot of money off of it, which I mean is
you better be sure you know your shit.
Is inherently what any AAA video game production is trying to do.
Well, not even
you
AAA.
better do your fucking homework.
Yes.
And he did not.
True.
I mean, a lot of video games are terrible at, I wish they could all be the fucking Wire.
That is fine, but I mean...
I'm saying
even
indie games that are
is,
actually, like, pretty good at having a voice are still made, for the sake of making money.
I think, I don't think it's binary. I don't think there are, like, games who do it well and games who do it bad. I think there's a spectrum, and in that spectrum, this game is really, really far on the negative extreme.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think most video games are.
I cannot remember the last time I had been quite so floored by some of the things I was seeing in a video game. I mean, maybe I just don't play every video game that comes out. I don't know, man. There are some things, there are some choices that are just like, wow, I can't believe that one guy made this choice, let alone an entire company backing it. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, what sucks is, and this is kind of what I was going back to saying, I was like, when this game boots up, he is the only person credited in writing this game. And I was like, especially...
we talked about this during my stream the other night, and somebody, I don't remember who it was, maybe it was Illumination, brought up the fact that, like, a year ago or so, there was an interview with the co-writer of this game.
What happened to that guy?
What happened to that guy? Why is he not credited? Why is it written and directed by David Cage?
Can't answer
is
that
what
question.
I'm saying. I mean, like
it's weird.
Did someone see the writing on the wall and go, maybe I don't want my name on this thing, or maybe they weren't involved enough in production to earn their credit or whatever. I don't know, but at some point within the last year and a half, somebody else was doing press specifically from the angle of writing for this game.
Yeah.
And now
not the case.
Their name is gone.
Not the case. All right. We need to move on, but, definitely interesting conversation. A lot of discussion to be had about this game. I hope the takeaway, though, is that, I think it's still, especially from a game design perspective, I think it's definitely worth people's time to at least try this game.
I think it owes a lot to its predecessors, though.
I think it very much is worth checking out if anything about it interests you. If anything, if you're seeing red flags already, though, believe me, it's not going to get better.
That's true. But maybe brace yourself.
Yes,
for certain things. Last thing I want to say about it, this game is fucking gorgeous. Just from a technical standpoint.
Oh, yeah.
Holy shit, there are some beautiful
motion capture, animation,
beautiful set pieces.
Capture, it's all on point.
How familiar are you guys with Omicron?
I'm not at all. I didn't even know that was Quantic Dream until you said. I don't know.
It's probably like their more ambitious game.
David Bowie's in it.
Yeah, with David Bowie. He does the whole soundtrack. He does more than the soundtrack.
When was this?
He was
97?
He was a part
their
of
first
game design and stuff too.
Really?
Yeah, like that game takes place in like an open world like city, and they've always sort of toyed with kind of the way a game handles mortality, because in that game, when you died, your soul would like go into another body, and you would just play as a different body
character.
Yeah,
that's weird.
Yeah,
that's cool.
But there was also like fighting game mechanics and like first person shooter mechanics. Like it was a video game back then. Yeah. They just were kind of bad at it.
All right, we need to take a break because I think we've been going for a little bit over an hour. If you're watching us live on twitch.tv/4Player Podcast, don't go anywhere. We'll be back after the short break. Carlos is going to tell us about some red hot video games, right?
Sure.
Alpha Protocol. Got some footage of Alpha Protocol. game you've been playing. And we will of course cover some big news topics, including Fallout and Pokemon and all that good stuff when we come back. So don't go anywhere. Wait, what? Welcome back to the show. Look who we found during the break.
Hey, it's me, Nolan.
Now we have a 5-player podcast.
Yeah.
Oh my god, there's so many people here. We still got so much to talk about, but I want to send it over to Carlos. Because Carlos has been playing those sweet James, right?
Alright. So, I just... I've been trying to clear my backlog for a bit, trying to focus on games I missed out playing on the 360.
Damn.
I played Alpha Protocol to completion.
The games are yours. What?
Yes. And I want to open with a pretty bold statement here.
Ooh,
Alpha Protocol, and I know Brad here is going to back me up. I think it's the best RPG I've ever played.
Well, I mean,
I believe that it's the best RPG that you've ever played.
Yeah,
I totally believe that.
I can get on Krispy's
That is so
train.
easy to swallow.
Yeah.
Listen, I love Alpha Protocol,
Dude.
It does things better than any of its competitors.
Like all of you guys right now that we're
Oh
talking
my god,
about.
you can see the camera shaking. So first of all, I should have known it was a mistake to ask Carlos to bring footage of this game. He literally brought cam footage.
Well, he could have played the much better PC version.
No, man, you got to commit to the jank. You got to commit to the jank. You know, I want to go in, get the real experience. But you know how you guys were talking about the flowchart in Detroit and how it shows like all the choices and how the story could have gone.
Yes.
Well, if Alpha Protocol had one of those, it would be like a Tesseract. Like it would be incomprehensible.
There is
us.
some like really
It'd be like fourth dimension.
Yeah, it's absolutely bonkers how crazy this game gets with the narrative. And by the time I finished it, I had no idea what had happened or what had gone on because it's just so complex. But
Is that similar to how you recorded this in such a high frame rate? It seems like it's a low frame rate.
Yeah.
Okay.
And like,
This is a really cool filter, actually.
but the like moment to moment story beats, like, you know, the betrayals, the double crosses, the revelations, the twists. Even if by the end of the game you have kind of like gotten too confused by how many of them they are and kind of lost track of what was going on. Like in the moment, you're like really invested in them. You're like, oh shit, you know, like every single mission you do, there's like something, like a revelation or something that's happening, and the way the game works, like the way like the stuff, like influences. Hold on, I can't fucking think. It's like my brain is fucking broken.
There's too
dude.
many James.
Is the game that good or that bad?
It's that good.
Well, it's
like
it's non-linear. It's
like
and
He's
the decisions you
stalling
make
to draw out the footage to get to the real
Probably.
bit.
the decisions you make in like some missions will like dramatically affect like the stuff you do.
See, like
later
let
on in the game.
me give you an example. Like at the beginning of the game, you're tasked with like investigating a terrorist attack. Soon after that, you're betrayed by your organization. You have to go rogue. And after that, the game opens up. Like you're able to travel the world to these different locations and kind of try to figure out what's going on.
That sounds like the plot of Mission Impossible.
Make
Ghost
allies,
Protocol.
make enemies. But even things like the order in which you choose to do the missions, like influences how stuff plays out.
Yeah.
Like there's factions that you might not even encounter at all in your playthrough, based on like a very simple decision that you might not even know you did. Like there's I'm gonna give some examples. Like there's a mission. I don't care about spoiling because nobody's gonna play this.
This
game.
game came
thanks.
out in like
Who cares?
2008.
Well,
Totally didn't
Chris
plan on
Davis
playing
has
this.
stupidly not played this.
Like,
which
I
is-
may not
played
play
it.
this, but I reserve
Yeah,
the right
but-
to
but
remain
th-
sanctimonious.
This is like
about
this is
maybe
Chris Davis
one day.
material.
Like there's a mission in Italy,
Spies
right?
and
There's a
shit?
mission in Italy. You're trying to like find out some information from some art smugglers that are smuggling bombs inside like statues or whatever, right? And halfway
As
through
they do.
halfway through the mission, like the warehouse gets raided by these Russian mobsters, and you now have to fight the smugglers and the Russian mobsters. But if you had done a mission in Russia before that one, you might have ran into the Russian mob boss, and maybe you would have played to his side, you know, like, hey, you know, we can be friends, and then he would have been like, okay, I'm gonna tell my guys not to attack you if they
So
come.
then you're not in that other mission. You're not having to deal.
Yeah,
with
so in
the
that
Russians.
other mission, those Russian guys would have been your allies instead of your enemies.
That's pretty cool.
And is every enemy in this game completely blind?
No,
Dude, you're just like fucking walking right in front of him.
No,
he has a
It's an
stealth- he has a
RPG.
stealth,
This RNG is on his side.
This is another part. This is the beauty of the game. Like the game is broken as shit. Like the game just doesn't work. Like nothing
yeah.
in the game works. Like nothing in the game works. Like during the tutorial, they're telling you like, oh, pistols, you're able to do this ability with the pistol. The shotgun, you're able to do this ability with the shotgun. Gadgets can be used for this or that. Ignore all of that. Like you will never use any of that
Stealth.
because it doesn't work. It just doesn't work. Like you'll go up to try to melee an enemy like they show you in the tutorial, and you're gonna get stuck in a reloading animation for some reason, and like that's it, you're dead.
The stealth tree is the way to go when you have this game because it has band-aids. Like, oh, when you accidentally get spotted, you'll just turn invisible for a few seconds.
Yeah.
Which
You
happens
also-
all the time because, you know...
And you also have an ability that when you level up to the max, you also have an ability that when you level up to the max, it lets you become invisible for like 9 seconds, which is an insane amount of time.
Did you say 9 seconds?
9 seconds. It's a long time to be like absolutely invisible to everything. But then you also have an ability that resets the cooldowns for all your other abilities.
You can
So
tell
you can be invisible for like 20 seconds almost, and
that's a
just
long
sneak
time.
through the end of the level.
You can tell this game's age because that was back when they thought sidekicks were going to be cool, like the phones with like
Right,
the pop-out
with the little
keyboards.
keyboard.
Yeah.
But like the buttons are holographic.
Jesus Christ.
Hey, you can diss a lot of the gameplay, but one thing I remember about Alpha Protocol is there's 3 different types of
walk like that
mini
the whole
games
Oh, the minigames are really good.
related to like hacking or lockpicking and stuff. And all of those are good.
Yeah.
Does he always look like he has to take a shit? Just
He's
the way he
always
like
scooting around,
like
bent over.
when Solid Snake crouch walks, it looks like he's like he's like
This guy looks like he's trying to drag his butt on the carpet.
He looks like an octogenarian with back problems or something like.
And you know, for every time that the game breaks, every time the game breaks like against you and gets you killed or something, it also breaks in your favor. Like there was a couple bosses that I was having a really hard time fighting because I wasn't spec to like combat them. They would like stay far away from me at range and just shoot me. But you retry the fight long enough, they're gonna glitch and get stuck into a railing or something, and then you just walk up straight up to them and just shoot them point blank in the face like 20 times and win. Like the last boss of the game, the pistol has an ability that when you aim at an enemy, it like starts focusing, like the reticle starts closing down, and when it gets to the point, when it becomes a point, it's an automatic critical hit, like it doesn't miss. So all I did was hide like behind a little rock, and the boss was just shooting rockets at me, and they were all exploding on the rock, and I would just like wait for it to close all the way up and shoot, and then wait all the way for it to close again and shoot. And I was there for like 15 minutes just doing that until I beat the game.
But like I understand that he turned invisible, but the guard already saw him. Like he saw a guy in front of him that turned invisible and then was just cool with it.
When did this game come out?
That's what the ability is. Like the ability, it's like a reroll.
It negates object
It's a
permanence.
band-aid.
Yeah, it's like a reroll.
All right.
And a lot of the abilities, it sounds like,
like
they just
breakdance
went with
fighters?
like stuff that sounded cool, but they didn't really stop to think how it would actually influence the way you play the game. Because like stuff like that is really obviously broken, you know?
Okay, so
Talk about the dialogue system because I think that's one of the coolest parts about this game.
So the dialogue system is different from other RPGs. You know, in other RPGs, whenever you are talking to someone, you get like several dialogue options, and you're able to go back and try other ones. You know, until you exhaust all possible opportunities or dialogue options. In this one, no, dialogue just keeps going, and what you choose is what you choose.
walks in front of it or something.
What you choose is your attitude. Like you can be suave, professional, or aggressive. And some characters.
So it's like Mass Effect?
Yeah.
Well, it's different though because some characters
like you to be professional.
You get
on specific circumstances.
Yeah. So you're not so much playing a character as so much as playing someone who talks to people well. You know what I mean?
I got you. Well, that almost, and I know you already talked about Detroit and I wasn't here, but that makes me think about that. And that multiple times in that game, I've kind of catered what I was going to say to someone based on their attitude and how I thought they wanted me to act towards them.
Yeah, this is what this game is.
Okay.
This is what this game is.
This came out,
and
it's about reading
you have to know the person,
Yeah.
and also you can find stuff like on the world, like by hacking computers, you can find like background information on people, and then you'll be able to bring it up whenever you're talking to them. That'll give you like an additional option.
Gotcha.
And this affects like the reputation you have with people. Like people will like you or dislike you, and whether someone likes you or dislikes you can also give you particular bonuses. Like say for this mission, my handler is Mina, right?
Mina.
The purple girl hair you saw there. If she likes me, I get a bonus to endurance because I'm like, oh, like I feel like Mina's got my back, you know. But if she dislikes me, it even got really cool flavor text where he's like, fuck man, I hate Nina. Her voice is so annoying, like on my earpiece the whole time. So you get a bonus to like melee damage because you're fucking pissed all the time during the mission. And it's got like the best like perk system I've seen in an RPG. Like you think about a perk system like in Fallout, you know, you level up, you get to choose from a list of perks, cater to maybe some of your character points. But on this one, you get perks, you earn perks automatically based on stuff you're doing on the world. Like at the very beginning of the game, whenever you're still doing training, there's a TB with information on the back, like with a newscast on the background. If you stop and watch that whole broadcast until it's finished, you get a perk called like well informed, and then that gives you like a permanent 5% discount for stores in the Saudi Arabia hub of the game, because you're knowledgeable about that particular area. And there's a lot of ways you get perks.
It seems like
that.
the game has a lot of really cool like supporting mechanics, but like, how do you play this without being so distracted by all the other bullshit?
I mean, you just kind of have to power through it. Like I said, eventually the game glitches in your favor, and you're able to like make it past whatever it is.
That's what you're relying on, waiting for it to glitch in your favor.
And don't worry, it won't take that long.
So hold on. So you were saying that you go rogue, or you're trying to, right? You're like the government is after you. Was that what you said?
Like you discover a conspiracy in which this weapons manufacturer is trying to like start a new Cold War and sell weapons to everyone.
So what is your goal?
That's literally the plot of Mission Impossible.
Your goal is to like
Are you
bring
sure about
this
that,
conspiracy
I'm
to the
pretty
front.
sure.
I don't think you can confidently tell me the plot of any of those.
No.
Oh, and like
you get your gut.
I'm sorry. You just hit one of my buttons.
dude, you can also do stuff
I
like
can break it down for you, Krispy.
dude.
Those
Yo,
movies are not good.
you can do stuff like, for example, there's a situation in which I talked to a dude and he's like, all right, I'm gonna meet you at this coffee shop, right? Because some missions are just you showing up to a place and talking to someone for a little bit. Like there's no combat. You just show up, you talk to them for a little bit, and then you leave. So for this mission, I'm gonna meet you at this coffee shop, but then some other dude shows up and sits down, and he sits down and he's like, "Be cool." And your dialogue options pop up, but you also get an option to like fucking just get up and shoot him and run away.
Glass them.
Yeah. So like if you choose to do that, you will no longer be able to deal with that faction. And another example of like the way the narrative like branches around itself and shit. Like there's this this moment that I really remember. There's a boss. He's like a Russian mob boss that you have to kill. So you go in and fight him on a nightclub or whatever. And he's got different faces. Like the game's pretty crazy. Like the boss has different faces. Like during his first phase, he will just shoot at you from long range with some machine guns. In his second phase, he will rush you with some knives. But in between phases, he does like a huge line of coke. And like the lines flash really bright and you kind of lose track of where he is. So that's how you can tell that he's gone from one phase to the next. Mm-hmm. But if before you go on to that mission, you did a favor for another character played by Nolan North, who's another spy, he will be like, hey, I know you're going to go fight this dude. I can poison his stash for you. So anytime he does the huge line of coke, he will take damage.
That's cool.
It sounds like this game has some cool shit in it.
The game just
neat.
does shit.
This game
just does shit like that all the time.
There's this one Russian lady that if your reputation with her is high enough, later on in the game, she sexually assaults you.
Oh
what?
God.
Yeah. I did not expect the conversation to go there.
Oh,
Interesting.
While you're tied down.
Oh, as one does. Okay.
Yeah, but that's not okay, right?
No, I mean you were just it's not okay at all.
I mean, this was 2008. That was a different time.
But like all the loot, there's like a bunch of loot you can get for your dude, like weapons and like armor pieces and stuff. None of it matters. Like I made it to like maybe 75% of the game without changing any of the ones I started with, just because I didn't see any difference.
Really?
Yeah.
How long did it take you to finish this game, Carlos?
It's short. It's like
Is-
12 hours long.
I was like watching
like-
you play this, like looking at your playstyle, like he's like, yeah, I finished it in 4 hours.
This stuff like your character's wearing, is that all just a matter of customization, or is that actual equipment with stats, or
Yeah, it's equipment with stats.
is it?
It'll do stuff like reduce the cooldown on your special abilities. It'll do things like whenever you're hacking a door, there's a timer. You have to hack the door before the timer runs up. It'll make the timer go by slower. It'll do things like that.
Cool.
Chris Davis, you should play
This
this.
does
It's
sound
really good.
interesting.
It's very playable. Like it's not
What are you
it's not
talking about?
frustrating. It's not like frustrating
If
broken.
you don't go down the stealth tree, it is fun.
it's just jank.
Yeah.
It's
So
absolute
if you
jank.
play this game, go down the stealth tree. But yeah.
Noted. All right, Carlos,
Love it.
you had a few other games you wanted to rattle off. We don't have much
I
time, but
I didn't want to so much as rattle these games off as I kind of wanted to brag that
Oh, brag.
I'm the real gamer here, beating all the games.
real Jamer.
Yeah,
Yeah, I beat Alpha Protocol when it came out.
I beat so many games. I beat
these games are less than 2 hours long?
I beat Alice Madness Returns.
That's a long game.
That's just a waste of time.
It was all right. Let me tell you something. I have never, aside from Mario 64, played like a collectathon platformer. I even tried playing a Hat in Time and could not get into it.
Are you saying? Are you about to tell me like you went from Mario 64 to Alice Madness Return?
I think Alice Madness Returns is the only platformer I've ever played, and I liked it.
All right,
It's
fair
pretty
enough.
good.
I played it. I didn't finish it, but I played
I
it.
played The Chronicles of Riddick: Escape from Butcher Bay.
Great game.
But
Pretty
you
good.
played that before.
Pretty good. I had never finished it.
You played Dark Athena?
well.
Pretty good. Not yet.
You
Kinda
should play
falls
that
I
one.
didn't
apart
want to.
towards the
I didn't
end.
want to like fucking rush all the Riddick games at once. Want to take a little break in between.
They're
them.
both pretty good. Dark Athena's not as good.
The most commendable thing about this game is that whenever you know how it does the life bar thing where you have like a bunch of little squares.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if one runs all the way out, then you don't gain that one
Yeah.
back. If you die a lot of times in a room, next time you respawn, next time you restart, it'll give you one more square back
Smart.
to like cut you a break. I also beat Trenched because
Why
I've
did
been
you play
I've
that?
been,
Why'd you play Trench?
That's
I've been
co-op
kind of
as
in
well.
that mech mood, into
Wait,
the
that's
breach.
That's when we saw at PAX.
Double
not-
Fine.
yeah, Double Fine. That's the
yeah.
one that used
Double
that
Fine, like
Iron Brigade.
Brigade,
yeah,
yeah.
changed
Into
its
the
name.
Breach, BattleTech, Mech Warrior 5, like all these mech games. I'm like, dog, I need to play a mech game. I'm gonna play some mech games. So I found Trenched. It's a bad tower defense game. I beat the game without building a single tower by just equipping like the most powerful machine guns I could and just shooting everything.
Well,
And I've never been a fan of Double Fine humor, except for a couple of jokes in this game. There's one where they say, "Oh, we try to train the guys from the Air Force to drive the mechs, but they died because they're used to using inverted."
no.
That's pretty good.
Hey man, don't judge.
Only real gamers will get that one.
Don't judge Double Fine until you've played Stacking. Thank you.
Psychonauts?
Stacking's my favorite
Trench,
Double Fine game.
I also finally finished The Darkness.
The first
And-
one.
Yeah, the first
you
one.
never played that?
I never finished it.
Wait, but you. What about you did
sucks.
Carlos? You did like date night on the feed on the stream. Like
yeah, but that happened
years
like in
ago.
the first 15 minutes of the game. And I also found out that To Kill a Mockingbird is not the only movie you can watch in its entirety in the game. You can also watch The Man with a Gold Arm or something.
Man with a
A
cold
Gregory
arm.
Peck movie. It's not the James Bond one. But you can also
That's-
watch
yeah,
you can
that's
also
Golden
watch that
Gun.
movie in its entirety. So there you go, guys. Date Night 2.0 coming soon. I've never seen that movie. It'll be a
Darkness
first.
is kind
It'll be a
of
first
fun.
for me as well. Those games like Condemned, The Darkness, and Riddick, they all came out like around the same period of time, and they're all weird. Like they're not
I like-
shooters.
You know,
I like
what the,
the-
you know what the
they're just
best
like
part about
games
the
with
Darkness
shooting
is?
in them.
There's no map. You have to ask for directions.
Oh yeah, I
that's-
remember that.
That's really cool.
You know, I like the atmosphere of the original Darkness, but I think the Darkness 2 is probably the. Well, no.
They're so different though.
They are so different, but like I
Very
don't know.
different
The
games.
first Darkness it was kind of jank. I don't know, but Darkness 2 is a more polished experience. I don't know. It's weird. It's a weird series.
Now, as I just recently said, I finished Alpha Protocol, and now I am currently playing Bully.
Yeah,
You've never finished Bully?
I've never
finished Bully.
touched Bully.
What?
No.
That game is so fucking
Well,
good.
sorry, I take that back. I played like an
good.
hour
It's good,
of it.
Nick, but it has a shit ton of loading screens. Like I got a quest from the cafeteria lady, and she was like, "Go pick me up these 3 items in town." I'm like, "Sure." I leave the building. The lunch lady said, "Loading screen." I go into town. loading screen. I go to the first store, loading screen. I leave the first store, loading screen. I go to the next store, loading screen. I leave the second store, loading screen. I go to the third store, loading screen. I leave the third store, loading screen.
All right, we get it.
You know, a lot of these games are on PC.
Yeah, the loading screen's on PC, not a big deal.
Yeah, but then that means I have to stream it properly.
Well, congratulations, Carlos, on your
no!
congratulations, Carlos, on your epic win for your backlog. Keep it going. Apparently, Carlos has found a lull. He can play his backlog. It's time to do news.
Real quick,
Oh shit.
I just wanted to mention I don't have footage or a title card,
Okay.
but I played a shit ton of Moonlighter over the weekend.
Oh yeah, still digging that.
And if I would have known I was going to be on the podcast, I probably would have mentioned it in the doc. But yeah, like honestly, the only reason I stopped playing it was because I thought I was going to cast it this week, and I wanted to cast some of it because I enjoyed it so much. I wanted some people to see me playing it. But dude, it gets intense when you start like building up your shop, and your shop is like, 4 times as big now, and you have like instead of like 4 or like 6 displays to sell items in your shop, you have like, I don't know, like 20 or something.
You're gonna have like a small
this is the one
strip
where
mall.
You're like the medieval shopkeeper who goes dungeon delving
Yes.
to get shit to sell.
Yes.
Okay.
And like it starts getting more intense. Like thieves start coming into your shop and stealing shit. And then like your shop gets so busy. If customers are waiting in line too long, they'll just steal shit. So you gotta like be careful. And then the dungeons get pretty good. I'm on my 4th dungeon, I think. Out of I think 5 out of 5. And I'm really enjoying it. The music's still really good. The only biggest complaint I'll have about it, I have run into a couple of glitches, which kind of suck. But the town is nowhere near as involved as I want it to be. It's very simple. You can invite a few people to the town that will sell you shit or upgrade your stuff. But that's really it. There's no like quests or anything you get. Like talking to the people doesn't really get you that much. Like lore kind of. But yeah, I'm definitely gonna.
You gonna
finish.
stream that this week or next
Maybe
week?
we'll see. I don't know. I might. I definitely want to. I'm definitely gonna finish that game fairly soon. And if I can stream it, I will. But
Sweet.
if not, yeah, good game.
It does look cool. I do want to play it. Maybe holding out for the Switch version. I don't know.
Yeah, no, it is gonna be on the Switch.
Yeah.
Or I think it might already be.
I was going through the library. I didn't see it on there.
Oh, okay.
So I don't think it's released yet.
Yeah.
All right. News.
Not really any news tonight.
There is so much news this week. Holy shit. We might not be able to talk about all of it. There's a couple big ones I know I want to cover. Let's talk about the Fallout thing first. Because I feel like that's kind of dominated.
What, the stream?
Yeah, let's talk about that Bethesda stream.
Fuck you, Bethesda.
I'm sorry.
Fuck you, Pete Hines.
What was it? I missed
Pete
it.
Hines, take that Vault Boy and
It was
shove
just
it
a Vault Boy sitting in
way
front of
up
the
your
screen
ass.
for 5 hours.
They did.
the
It was
fuck
longer
up.
than 5 hours.
Well,
No.
mine was 5 hours.
Oh, fuck
No,
you.
guys, that stream was live for 24 hours.
24 hours.
shit.
And it
supposed to
was
be.
just the bobblehead?
It was
Yeah,
the bobblehead in
people
front of a
would like
television.
walk by in the background every now and then and do shit.
And then when nighttime came, they laid down the Vault Boy and put like a blanket on him.
And then they turned the lights out.
So then when did the
next
Fallout
morning.
70, that was the next
The next
Yeah.
morning.
Now here's
24
the thing.
hours after it started is when the trailer launched.
So
That was some
first
pretty
of
good.
all,
That was a pretty good bit.
First of all, okay, I don't really have a problem with the whole strategy they went with for announcing this game, except that when they started the stream, they didn't really give anybody any context as to like when to maybe expect it. What bothered
I
me
think that was
about
the
it,
point.
except like people were like, this is like a week and a half before E3. I think the stream's gonna be live until E3.
Some people did think that, yeah.
I was like, there are people out there, obviously, who are maybe making poor decisions, but there are people out there who are like stopping what they're doing in their lives and like
Obvious.
obsessing with this stream, and like they could have just been like, hey, we're gonna announce something tomorrow. Here's the stream, because they were coming in and out of the stream like they were like they threw a yellow balloon.
You gotta leave it a mystery. That's what makes it marketing.
No, here's the thing. It is a mystery. All you have to say is, hey, in 24 hours we're going to announce this, because the entire stream.
Well, then in
everyone's-
24 hours, nobody would have really watched
Guys,
it.
can I finish my sentence?
Yeah.
No.
Like, for the entire fucking stream, they had people coming in and out and like doing things that were teasing the announcement.
Activity
They
every
were
time it's just like
They had a guy come in with a mask. They were putting a balloon in the stream like ran, and people were like freaking out every time that happened. And I was like, okay, that's cool, but at least I wish people kind of knew what it was building to something rather than like, oh my god, am I gonna have to check this every single day potentially for hours until
Here-
something
There was
finally happened.
150,000 people.
150,000.
And it
Here-
kept
here-
going down
Here's what,
and down and
Here's
down.
the thing, Nick. So what I did was I heard about this, so I pull it up. I'm like, oh, I'm excited. I'm excited for this. I'm at work though, so I have it on a separate screen in the background.
I had it on my phone.
Every once in a while, I'll flip back to it, and then at one point, I even popped into our Discord, and I was like, hey guys. I'm closing the stream. Let me know when something fucking
That's exactly
happens.
what I did. I
Because
said,
I'm
"Ping
like,
me when
I'm
it's
not going to
happening."
waste my fucking time, and I'm not going to add to their ridiculous viewer count for whatever. I knew that something was going to happen, and within 5 or 10 minutes, I would know. I can stand to wait 5 or 10 minutes to hear about it.
Yeah.
And so I definitely did not give in to that.
Well,
that
let's talk
spiel.
about the news.
Okay, sure.
So the news, they actually finally made the announcement the next morning. And it
Kind
was
of.
A teaser.
It's a teaser. Obviously, so a lot of companies right now are kind of like, I feel like they're dropping a lot of their mid-tier news, like mid-tier announcements prior to E3.
Nothing with the word Fallout on it is mid-tier.
I do that.
Even though this is a different kind of Fallout project.
They announced Fallout 76. That's the news topic here. They announced Fallout 76. No real details to speak of. There's a lot of there's a trailer. It's kind of very subtle.
Well, you know what? If you look at the numbers of 7 and 6, it's Battle Royale.
What?
Battle has 6 letters. I'm
I-
fucking with you, Nick.
I hate
I'm
you.
fucking with you.
I hate you.
But I got you for a second there.
for a small
there's-
tiny second.
So,
You're
J-
like, wait, B is the 7th letter of the alphabet.
so the thing is, Jason Schreier from Kotaku, like, knows some stuff.
Yes.
I honestly, what he said, I believe him. He's gotten some information before in the
yeah.
past
this
about
would not be the
games.
first time
He's a super reliable, like, he has sources.
Yeah.
Have you seen the conspiracy theories that they were like, oh, they intentionally leaked this to him specifically because he's the one that that busted up Fallout 4 before their announcement.
but
so this is like revenge on him.
They're just
so
throwing
he's
him
like
all kinds of
reporting and being
bullshit.
like, don't be excited, it's an online battle royale game.
Press
and all
Nick
these people
Fox.
are just like clutching on to the thought that like, nope. The fucking Todd Howard's gonna walk out there on stage and be like, Fallout 76, it's a New Vegas style spin-off, it's a full RPG single player experience, and then like everyone's gonna be like, fuck you, Kotaku,
Honestly,
you're so stupid.
I kinda hope
honestly,
that's the case.
this makes a lot of sense, and honestly, it's probably a pretty good idea. I mean, Schreier also straight up said that this was the Battle Cry studio.
Yeah.
No, it is.
The
Yeah.
one
No,
that got
this is-
renamed.
Yeah.
This game is in production. It's a combination of two teams, predominantly being the one here in Austin.
Which is crazy because
formerly
this
Battle Cry
is a
Studios.
studio that was formed, that
make
was
Battle
named
Cry.
after their first project that was failed and didn't get released. And now they're working on what is purportedly, supposedly rumored to be a like a survival game in the vein
Like
of
a
like
Rust
Rust
style,
or
yeah.
DayZ with the building elements from
Fallout 4. Yeah.
With-
Hopefully they make that stuff a little bit
Yeah, please
more
do.
streamlined.
With online components.
Well,
with, like-
online and RPG.
And
I
online.
mean, if you read the
and
article,
RPG
you mentioned like
components, yeah.
quests and stuff like that. So it is more than just like survival.
And I think, and Krita in chat makes a good point, and I think this is why they dropped it early, is because I think there's a lot of hype going into E3 this year. Bethesda has had a completely blank slate as far as their press conference goes. Nobody knew what they're going to, but they have like an hour and a half to talk about games, and they didn't have anything. And then Rage 2 leaked, and now this is being revealed ahead of time. Because if we had gotten all the way to E3 and Bethesda had said, now we're going to talk about Fallout, people would have freaked the fuck out and then been so pissed when they realized this was like a weird spin-off type of thing.
I think this is just
Not that it can't be
what
good
people
or
do
cool.
now so they can steal the news cycle.
Yeah,
And,
of course.
and honestly, Microsoft's going on Sunday now before Bethesda. They might even have a couple of these games at the Microsoft press conference. I just think they want their own time to shine.
Here's what I'm curious about. How much money did Bethesda make off of ads on Twitch from people just jumping in every once in a while to check the status of that stream?
Hopefully
for
not.
24 hours.
Were there
That's
ads?
a good
Were
idea.
there ads on that stream?
I watched at least 4 ads.
Oh, maybe you did.
Well, you
jumping
guys
in.
have Twitch Prime, so you wouldn't know.
Probably paid for the E3.
I don't
Yeah.
have Twitch Prime.
You don't?
I mean, I'm not saying it was just kind of a weird.
No,
Maybe
Amazon
it may
Prime?
have rubbed some people
I
the
do,
wrong
but
way.
mine's fucked.
But the thing is, we're gonna get a full reveal for this on Sunday.
Yeah.
Next Sunday, not
What
this
is that?
Sunday.
Like June 10th, something like
June
that?
10th. Which, by the way, we're going to be doing live commentary of Microsoft and Bethesda, as mentioned, right before we leave for
It's gonna
E3.
be like the
honestly, I'm glad
Artifact
they
announced.
did this. I'm glad they put out the teaser trailer, and then we'll find out more about it on June 10th. And honestly, I am excited for it. I understand that it's gonna, it's not gonna be the traditional Fallout game. But I mean, that's fine.
But it could very well still be something very cool, and it probably still has plenty there for people who do want to play it by themselves, as opposed to playing as like a predominantly multiplayer game. Who knows?
You hope.
I hope. I certainly do. You're fucking
honestly,
right about that.
Honestly, I like that concept, and I have found myself enjoying games like Rust and DayZ and stuff before. I've played them and they're fun, but they're always janky as fuck. And I'm almost excited to not only play a style of game like that, but one that's developed by someone who actually has a little more money and time and resources that are going into it. I'm hoping it's not going to be like an early access type thing that we get it like super early and it's going to be janky as fuck.
I will tell you this: I do think this is probably going to, because historically speaking, the past few years, Bethesda has announced at least one game with their press conference that releases that year.
Correct.
I think this is that.
No,
game.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I bet
if
this is their fall game.
And so, okay, I know JV2. I know Fallout has jank. I understand that, but I'm saying in regards to like a Rust style game where it's like it just nothing really seems to work and whatever. But I'm excited to have this for the universe, for the lore aspect of it, for the fact that this is supposed to be Vault 76, which was supposed to be the first vault or one of the first vaults that opens. The control vault that opens 20 years after the nuclear fallout. Yeah, and these are the people who are supposed to come out, and rebuild society. And I understand that from like a lore aspect, that makes sense. That's what you're doing. You're coming out of your vault and you're going to be building things. I'm excited for that. You're not gonna like conceptually some of the creatures you might run into that are just just after the fallout. So we're not going to see super mutants. We're not going to see like feral ghouls necessarily because. But
you will see a different side of the wasteland.
Correct. Yeah.
I'm wondering if this game is going, when it's finally revealed, is it going to be like, is it going to look dramatically different? Is this going to be like more of like an isometric like top-down kind of like style game?
I think it'll be just like Fallout 4, honestly.
You think so?
They're probably just using that engine.
And yeah, I agree. I'm assuming they're just using the Fallout 4 engine.
What if it has a subscription?
What about that trailer, though, right? Choice of music? Mr. Sunshine on my goddamn shoulder, John
Denver.
That song is so overplayed now. Though.
Oh my god!
In what? What is it overplayed in?
You know what though?
It was like in 4 movies last year.
There's a reason for that too. Is because that song's 20th anniversary, I think, or 30th anniversary came up a couple years ago, and the holders to what's his face, John Denver's estate hired like ad companies to get it out as much as possible. So they were giving the rights away for really, really cheap. It was in like TV shows and movies and video games and stuff. So if you feel like you've heard that song a lot lately, that's why.
All right, we need to roll on.
Yeah, we do.
We got few more news topics. Let's talk about the other big news topic that happened this week. That's Nintendo.
What if it opened with "Thank God I'm a country boy."
Thank God I'm a country.
Oh my god.
Nintendo.
Nintendo had some big announcements this week. They did a press conference with Game Freak and Niantic, I believe. What is that? That was weird. Pokemon. They had a slew of Pokemon announcements. Predominantly being the long rumored Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee coming to Switch. Confirmed for this year, November 16th. All right, first of all, let me just say, I've been saying this for a long time. I think it's crazy that anybody thought this original Pokemon RPG was coming out this year.
There's not huge gaps in between real Pokemon games and when Sun and Moon is...
But they're not going to develop the game in a year. That's a big game to make in a year.
But here's Sun and Moon did not come out...
I don't think this is going to be that style.
No, it's not. They've confirmed. This year we're getting Pokemon Go, or Pokemon Let's Go, both those games. Next year, before the end of 2019, is the full Pokemon core RPG that was teased in last year's E3 press conference.
Sure, but it's not unreasonable to have expected it this year.
I think it was, absolutely.
Sun and Moon was not last fall. It was like...
I know, but dude, what I'm saying is, when that game was announced at E3 last year, I'm like, all they had was, they didn't even have
I don't really think they had even done much development.
I think they had like decided like the week before, okay, we're doing this. That's what it seemed. That's what it. They didn't even have a logo.
They just kind of like throw
They didn't
it
have
out there.
like they were just like the generic Pokemon logo in like a Switch like template, and it was like coming to Switch
but
in
I
the
mean,
future.
I think it's safe to assume.
Yeah, Metroid Prime 4 had a logo.
I think it's safe to assume though that Pokemon is one of those properties that they'd be willing to start development of a new console before that console is
But why?
released. Like
Like-
Mario Odyssey was pretty far along when they announced the Switch.
But
'Cause
Brad,
they-
the whole point is they don't need to release this Prime RPG because they're doing so many other little things because it makes them fucking money.
Well, of course.
Like, oh yeah, let's put out this shitty little like
Baby
tie-in
game.
with Pokemon Go. That's Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee.
Well, first of
and
all-
it's not actually it's not a core Pokemon game. But you know what? Some people are probably going to think it is, and they're going to go and buy
here's
it.
the thing. But here's the thing. It kind of is. It's Pokemon Yellow with Pokemon Go mechanics.
But Pokemon Go mechanics are the tragedy part.
Yeah,
But like,
I
it depends on
kind
who
of
you
agree.
ask, and like, you're still fighting gym leaders and trainers and stuff. It's just the core mechanics of capturing the Pokemon is different.
But now they can
Also-
sell you a Pokemon controller. That's probably going to be like $100.
I'm not 100% sure, but what I've been hearing is that they don't have wild battles.
No, they don't. Everything you capture. I don't know if you actually capture them in
from the
the
video
but
I
then
saw.
also there is
it showed
no-
them walking up to a Pokemon. Like it was just hanging
Right.
out, and they just walked up
And there's no
started fighting.
battling going on. You're literally just
yeah,
throwing
not
the
when you're in the
Pokeball
act
and trying to catch it.
when you're in the act of catching them.
Right.
You're not battling them, but you do still collect them and battle them against trainers.
Yeah.
But mechanically speaking, the way you capture them works very much like Pokemon Go. It even syncs with Pokemon Go. So if you're capturing, you can go out into the real world with Pokemon Go, capture games or Pokemon on your phone, and then transfer them to Pokemon Go or Let's Go Pokemon. It's so fucking hard to talk about this game because of the title. It's such a weird title.
I feel like a fool.
Hey,
I got really
Nick,
caught up. When
It's
I
not
saw
a
the
weird
trailer.
title. It's a fucking horrible title.
It's a horrible title, but
like why like
it's just basically
why,
Pokemon Go 2.
Why Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee? Like really?
They're
Out of like all the
They're
fucking
building off the
Pokemon?
Pokemon Go brand. This is
Popular
essentially a fancy
characters.
sequel to Pokemon Go.
You ever heard any like Japanese anime intro or outro song? They all have "Let's Go" somewhere in it.
Honestly,
Let's go.
at that point, if they were going to do multiple, why didn't they just? And if it is the original 150, how come they didn't just do one for each fucking starter? At that point, you know what I'm saying? Like, what's the point of like doing
Well, they were
Pikachu
building
and
off
Eevee?
of the core mechanic or the core difference between Pokemon Red, Blue, and Yellow, which was that the Pokemon there was a Pokemon that followed you
Pikachu
around.
followed you, yes.
Yeah, and they wanted to pick another one that could potentially follow you around. I guess Eevee seemed like a good choice because it seems, I don't know, it's like a little fox or whatever the fuck.
I
don't know.
guess. Then why
Watch
not?
your
Let's go
fucking mouth.
Vulpix. Why
Hey
not?
man, I don't make these
What is
decisions.
wrong with Eevee? He's
Nothing.
adorable.
I love. By
Where
the
do
way,
I start?
I'm not gonna
Real-
get.
Wait. Do you have an argument for this?
Yes.
I want to hear it.
Dude,
Eevee's like
great.
such a fucking bullshit Pokemon with
Okay.
its like 38 evolutions it can do, and you got to use this
What's wrong
stone
with that?
and
I
that
think the
stone,
furries
and
really
this
like
one if it's
Eevee.
nighttime, and this one if it's daytime.
But the
and-
whole conceit of Pokemon being that like most of them have evolutions, some of them don't, some of them evolve in different ways. You had this extra mechanic where certain ones could only evolve when exposed to certain stones. Like that was a neat RPG mechanic. So it
Eevee
makes
was
sense
always,
that
like,
there
my
would be one set of Pokemon where like they are all about the stone transformations where you take one Pokemon, whatever you apply to it, that's what it becomes, kind of thing. Like that is cool. That is a neat idea for expanding
I have a
upon this
counter-argument.
RPG system that they set
I have
up.
a counter argument.
What's that,
Squirtle.
Squirtle's great. Squirtle Squad, man, back in the day. Fucking
Can we?
great.
We don't need to debate the logistics of
But
like
there's
which
nothing wrong
Pokemon
with
is better.
Eevee.
All right, there's nothing. Let's not have the debate here. I just want to say
if a Squirtle with sunglasses followed me around, I would be fucking all about that shit.
maybe because they didn't want to call their game "Let's Go Squirtle."
Let's go.
Why not? Let's go Squirtle Squad. Do you think that's the reason they didn't do one of each of the starters? Let's go Charmander. Let's go Bulbasaur. Let's go Squirtle.
Dude, remember how well that Squirt Soda fared?
That's true.
Holy shit!
Squirt Soda was like a thing for a year, and
Oh my god.
It still is, isn't it?
is it?
I think
You know
Squirt
what?
still exists.
You know what? What I
could've done
will
a
say
tie-in
about
with Let's Go
this,
Squirtle.
it gives you
Squirt.
this game gives you a taste of what that new Pokemon RPG will look like on the Switch. I think this game looks pretty damn cool, visually speaking.
I mean, it's a Nintendo Switch.
Yeah.
Breath of the Wild is on this thing. This looks like a...
Dude, what? Why does it have to be compared to Breath of the Wild? I mean, it just
No,
looks like
I'm
a nice
saying-
looking Pokemon game.
Well, I mean, I just think we...
Here's my
When it comes to Pokemon, we
here's
have
my
lower
counter
standards.
argument to that, Nick. Every Pokemon game pretty much looks exactly the same.
Up until a certain point.
Sometimes their graphics get a little bit better, but all in all, it's the exact same
Well,
thing.
yeah, I mean, like, that's not going to change.
If this core Pokemon game that's coming out in 2019 gets announced and it looks like Breath of the Wild, I don't care. I'm buying it.
Well, it's not going to.
I know,
I can almost
which is why I
promise you.
probably won't buy it.
But, like, it could also change its visual style in any number of ways that you're not able to predict. It's not going to be Breath of the Wild, but it could be dramatically different than what... I mean...
Why can't it be Breath of the Wild?
I don't think... The audience is very different. The audience they're trying to target with Breath of the Wild is a very different audience they're trying to target with Pokemon.
I think plenty of kids play Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, but, like... Younger
my
kids.
thing is I've been playing Pokemon for...
I know.
20 years?
I mean, I've been playing it since Red and Blue.
I'm fucking done. Like, it's the same shit over and over.
I didn't want to have this conversation. I mean, it's an inevitable debate. I'm going to give this game a try.
You know what one of my favorite Pokemon games was, Nick? Pokemon Pinball. I fucking love that game.
Sure.
Because it was nothing to do with the Pokemon series.
You know what I like? Pokemon Puzzle League.
Puzzle League was good.
Fair enough. Guys, what are y'all doing?
They're like holding their breath over there.
But
Okay.
What?
Okay.
Does this mean that Eevee's going to be a playable character in Smash then?
Oh, for fuck's sake, who cares?
What would it matter if Eevee's in Smash?
I mean, I figure like
It could be.
No, it's a fine question, except it's Pokemon and Smash, and who cares? You know who's not going to be in it? Andy.
Guys,
Andy?
Advanced War.
Oh, okay.
So
What-
there's rumors that Resident Evil 2 is...
Well, you want to bring that up? Okay.
Why would I not want to bring
I mean,
that up?
I didn't.
I want to hear your take.
Hold on, Brad. I'm not familiar with
Except
this
I
rumor.
could not find.
What is this rumor?
I saw that rumor on one website, and I could not find any other website that referenced it, like, at all.
Well,
So-
it's from
and it-
their source.
well, that's
I mean,
how rumors
sure.
get started, Nick. Someone's
I
gonna
know, but
start it.
usually, like, other sites will pick it up and, like, report on it still, saying, "Hey, this guy heard about this" or whatever. Didn't see that really
I
anywhere.
still don't
But-
know what they're reporting on.
But go ahead, Brad. You want to? There are other. Okay, go ahead, Brad. Bring it up.
There's some
Resident Evil 2
details about Resident Evil 2's development.
What are the details?
This, by the way, I think
like-
this sounds way too good to be true, and I don't believe it at all. That's just my
No, I
personal
mean,
take on it.
The key part is that it's sort of that Resident Evil 4 style over the shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
It's apparently like a stylized version of that. I don't know what that means. Maybe they'll incorporate some of the old school angles, but you'll still shoot over the shoulder. I don't actually know. But they also say, like, tech wise, this is like their best looking
Really?
thing that they've done.
Does it look better than Resident Evil 7?
Yeah, I mean that's what the leak suggests.
Interesting.
I just wanted to
Look
use
at Nick,
this.
so fucking afraid to believe.
Because, like,
this site is a like, this is not some like bullshit website. They've have leaked stuff before.
Okay, that's fair. I'm just saying. I just thought it was odd that it's been that rumor has been around for about 4 or 5 days now, and I haven't seen anybody else pick it up. And I'm just wondering
Well,
why that is. It
because
seems
I mean,
odd.
it's
And not
it's
to
rumor
mention,
season.
not to mention, rarely does like something leak that sounds like so exactly what people want.
Nick, the reason is because often when sites want to write an article about something, they want a source, and if it's only coming from one place, they often don't want to quote it because they don't know if it's true or not, so they usually won't follow up. Because the problem then, what happens is someone's like, "Oh, I heard about this," and then someone else sees there's a second source, and then they'll quote both of those, and a third
Yeah.
one will come along, and it's all
It just
coming
seems
off
to
of
me like
one
they weren't
thing.
able to corroborate the
Exactly, and they
yeah.
maybe have reached out to some people and haven't gotten like word back, so they don't have any proof or whatever. But that doesn't mean this isn't true.
I
say it.
wanted to include this not because we have like any sort of confirmation, but as a kind of a springboard into the conversation of is this like something that is like good news for someone like you who's such a diehard classic Resident Evil fan and first person Resident Evil fan. Is this
I mean,
a good route
I mean,
for
here's
Resident Evil remake to take? Would you have preferred like the remake of Resident Evil 1 style?
No, I mean not necessarily. I mean, here's the thing. My problems with various Resident Evil games usually almost always fall on like the tone they try to strike, and like this is as long as it's Resident Evil 2, which I love, I don't like. Yeah, I think it sounds like a great route to take because it's still Resident Evil 2 at its core. So yeah, I would love to play a version of Resident Evil 2 where it's over the shoulder like Resident Evil 4 and like amazing visuals like Resident Evil 7. Like,
I mean, it would still be more or less contained in this police station.
yeah,
and
I would absolutely love that. And maybe there's rumors that like the rumor is also that maybe this is gonna be revealed at E3. It wouldn't surprise me because Resident Evil 7 came out last year, and maybe if they're trying to make Resident Evil kind of like, and if they're trying to bring it back as like an annual or semi-annual franchise, like we're not gonna get Resident Evil 8 immediately. So, like, this would be a good thing to kind of, like, bridge the gap between, like, a Resident Evil to put out between Resident Evil 7 and 8, like a remake of 2. Like, that would build hype and get people totally invested back in the franchise. The
rumor is also suggesting that they're outsourcing development, or part of it, I guess. What team do you think would contribute to this project?
Mercury's team?
Okay.
I mean...
Let's move on.
All right, what's next in the news?
I'm sorry. I mean, it's just like the answer to that question could be
what if
anything.
they're outsourcing to Platinum?
No.
Yeah. What's next in the news? What else we got?
It's exciting for me because it's one of those things that I would really, really want to see at E3.
Yeah, absolutely. If pinch me, man. I would love this to be real. I would love it to. I'm trying to temper my expectations because I feel like the chances of us seeing a reveal for Resident Evil 2 at E3 is pretty slim. Personally, that's just me. But I hope I'm wrong. Other news this week. Let's talk about this is the Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
Ooh.
Assassin's Creed Odyssey leaked today,
Because of a
actually.
keychain.
What a bad name.
I mean,
No, it ties into the Greeks.
yeah,
Wait, hold-
it does.
No,
Did you
but
see
Mario
this?
Odyssey.
Dumbass.
Everyone's going to be making like campy memes with
But have you
Assassin's
not?
Creed
They're
characters.
tying in with Mario. He's going to show up.
Okay,
And
too much happening. at
Mario
once, guys. Too much
DLC,
is
the
happening.
second Mario Odyssey DLC, he's going to go to Greece, and it's going to be Assassin's. And Mario's going to start killing people, like shanking them.
If it's on Switch, which it probably won't be, that would be a good idea.
I don't know what else to say
We don't
about
know
this.
anything about this.
It's going to be revealed at E3.
Yeah.
It is probably going to be released this fall. They're getting back on the annual release schedule, which I was kind of hoping they would stay away from.
Me too.
But like, also they laid a really terrific groundwork for the franchise going forward with Origins.
I will say I loved every bit of Origins that I
Yeah,
played.
it's
But isn't Greece like a little too
it seems like it's a little
treading?
It's I mean it's a very particular time period in Greece, but like it does seem like it's getting awfully close
Greece,
to like Brotherhood
almost
and
over by then?
By when?
By when the time the game is set?
What time is the game set?
Like
This-
after Egypt?
How do is it?
this is like ancient Greece.
There's some assumptions, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. We don't
How do you know it's set then?
This is okay.
That's what
the
the
rumor
keychain
says
says.
it's like a
Because we played
follow up to
Assassin's Creed
Origins.
Origins.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is very much supposed to be a follow-up to Origins. If you've played through Origins, I don't want to spoil it. There are certain things they tease in Origins that make it seem like this would make perfect sense for them to continue the story in Greece.
Zeus
So,
shows up with an eye patch and he's like, I'm here to talk about the Avengers Initiative.
yes, you nailed it.
They should do like
It's funny because this leaked earlier today because someone posted a picture of a keychain, which is weird. Like they're sending these keychains out to stores now.
Yeah.
They've done that several times before.
It was
where
probably a
like,
mistake.
Where they send stuff out, like Assassin's Creed 3, they sent out those steelbook cases before they made an announcement about that game existing.
Yeah.
And that's how that game leaked, is a GameStop employee went, oh, and like
Yeah.
put it online.
So this to me seems very much like the Fallout thing, where that like they have a known quantity that they're going to announce a game for, and they want to go ahead and get that kind of announcement out the door before E3 because
Maybe.
in my opinion, it seems to me like because that's not going to be the centerpiece of their showcase. It seems to me like they have other things we may not know about yet, or things that are less known quantities that are bigger.
Honestly,
that
I
they're
would,
gonna
I would
focus on.
hope it's not the centerpiece of their showcase, just because Assassin's Creed Origins.
It's
took
still
a
fresh.
Big, it took a big part of the stage last year, and like you were saying, like
Yeah.
I really don't want this to be a yearly series again. Like I need some fucking time between my Assassin's Creed games.
Although I am kind of hoping that maybe this is not a fall game, but more of an early 2019 game. Maybe
Maybe like a fall 2019. That'd be good.
well, yeah, but like I don't think that's gonna happen. I don't think there's gonna be another E3 between this game being announced and its
know.
releases. But like, I don't want to be playing another Fallout or another Assassin's Creed game this fall while I'm trying to play Red Dead Redemption 2 and any other number of like big games coming out in the fall.
Hey,
So.
Ubisoft, I didn't play your last game because it came out at a bad time. Don't do the same with this one.
When did Origins come out again? Like what time of year?
October?
Was it October? I know they're usually October releases, but I feel like that one.
I think it was.
Yeah, I guess it was.
And I remember because it was close to the end of the year, and I was like, I don't fucking have time for this.
But you know what? With that said, okay. The weird part of this rumor is that one, they spent a significant amount of time in Origins, kind of like setting this up and suggesting that like the next game could go to Greece.
Mm-hmm.
Yet the rumor is that this game does not star Bayek or Aya, which are the main characters of
But
Origins.
doesn't at the end of the game, isn't Bayek like, hey, yo, let's go to Greece?
I mean,
Get in the car.
We're going to
can't he
Greece,
say,
wait,
like,
did you finish Origins?
No, not yet.
Hey, let's
I
go
mean,
to, like,
you
ancient
joke, but-
Aztec.
Yeah, basically.
I mean, not like that, but like there's suggestions that at least one of the major characters is in that area. Like, you
Are
know,
they ever going to Asia?
That's racist,
They
Fred.
did.
I mean, the thing is, like this
Maybe
very
like
much
Latin America.
this very much seems to me like kind of, you know, they're not doing numbered entries in the series anymore. But like if Assassin's Creed Origins was like Assassin's Creed 5, quote unquote, like this would be like the gap, the filler game in between 5 and 6, and 6 would be like the big departure, setting wise.
What about like Antarctica Creed?
Not much to climb on.
That's what?
There's
There's
so
so
many
many glaciers. There's so much to
that's
climb
it.
on.
But that's
But a lot of places to hide.
Yeah.
'Cause they went
Who's going to be
white.
walking
Yeah.
around getting shanked?
Penguins.
I'd play it. I'd fucking play it.
You could do like some ancient Aztec stuff or like some
Could
stuff in South America.
Could
The
you
Amazon.
imagine? Could you imagine him putting up his hood and it has like a penguin beak on it? And
Yes,
he's like
I can totally
going
I can
through a
imagine
crowd
that.
of penguins.
All right.
He'd actually like for once.
There's no
his
polar
outfit
bears
would
on the
blend
South Pole.
in.
All right.
true.
That in the first game.
It's very important to point out, SMG Sterling, polar bears do not exist on the South Pole. They are only north.
Not
Okay. So I think we need to move on.
Yeah.
We got to get to Patreon questions. One thing I keep forgetting to mention, this because it's still kind of fresh in my mind, it's new. I haven't used to it yet, but I've been doing. I started doing this bonus podcast. Right. We do 4Player Plus. I'm trying to do them on Monday nights. Right. And this week I haven't quite decided what I'm going to talk about yet. But there was a news topic we didn't really have time to cover tonight, and I don't really have the details in front of me, so I don't really want to talk about it right now. But it'd be a great topic of conversation for Monday. And that is, there's a lot of rumored details leaking about Shadows Die Twice, the next project from Software. So maybe I'll talk about that on Monday because there's a lot of stuff to unpack from those.
Wait,
rumors.
is that
That's
what that
from one
trailer was
source.
for?
Huh?
Is that what that trailer was for?
The trailer.
I didn't hear about this.
There's a
horror
lot.
fishing game?
There's like a lot of rumors that it's not Bloodborne 2, and it's
It's a
lot of-
horror themed fishing game. We know.
I mean
Huh.
they're saying it. No, it's not a horror themed fishing
Hold
game.
on. Does this have anything to do with Kingdom Hearts?
No,
And the Shadows.
Nobody.
those are heartless.
Yeah.
No, we're not. Tune in Monday night. Maybe we'll talk about Shadows Die Twice. I also totally forgot to mention this at the start of the show. Crispy and I recorded a popcorn cast for
Thanks for
4Player
the
Plus.
invite.
You were literally coming out of the theater as we were recording this. Crispy and I recorded a popcorn cast on this past Monday night for Solo, a Star Wars story. It is now available to download on our public feeds. Go check it out if you have seen the movie or if you just don't care about spoilers. It's a good conversation. Lots of spoilers in there though. You can find it on.
Spoiler.
Yeah, you can find it on our main podcast feeds. It's up now, and we'll record another episode on Monday night before my stream. Anyways, enough about that. Let's jump into the community, Nolan. Are you ready?
I'm ready for the community.
Do it now.
It's the community. It's part of the show we talk about the people that we love. Like the fact that last week we had a new patron
We did.
who slipped through the cracks because he was being sneaky. Caesar. Carpe
Yeah, he was in
Day.
chat a while ago. He's like,
Carpe
no one
Day.
forgot about me.
I didn't
Carpe-
forget about him. I just really wanted to talk about him this week. Last week was a crazy show. It just didn't work.
Was
yeah,
it?
no,
Was
it
it
was crazy.
crazy?
It was so crazy.
Yeah, I guess it
So we
was.
appreciate you being a patron. We also got one other patron.
Yep.
Robert B.
Yep. He was in chat earlier
Baratheon.
too. I don't know if he's still in chat, but thank you, Robert B.
But he did ask a question, and we'll get to that soon.
Yes,
because
we
now it's
will.
time for some questions from our patrons.
Thank you, my lord.
Every week we post a thread on patreon.com/4player, and you can ask any question you want as long as you're a
Anything.
patron.
There's
who
always
donates
one
$1.
fuck, marry, kill.
Always.
I think there's one today too.
I believe there is. First question this week from Nexus. Hey guys, with E3 coming up, thought thought I'll ask, what are some places you frequent when in LA? I had a pretty underwhelming first impression during my first trip to the States, but wouldn't mind checking it out again after some research.
We always go to the Los Angeles Convention Hall.
Yeah.
Yeah, you usually hit that place up.
A lot.
Which
Yeah.
I've
Spend a
actually
lot of
been
time
noticing a lot in like television stuff where they use it
Yeah.
for like I saw it used as an airport once.
Really?
Yeah, I was like, I know that place. That's not an airport. But let's see. I mean, first of all,
Button Mash. We've
Button
been going
Mash
there
is where
for
we
a few
do our
years.
community meetups.
Go to
which
Button
is
Mash
fun.
and you got to get the
the Korean.
Korean pork belly sandwich.
And that's where we're going to be doing our
So
community meetup this year for E3, which will be Thursday night of E3. So if you're at E3 or in the LA area and you want to come by, we'll be posting meetup details soon. This week probably.
And
we
according
hope-
to sorry,
I was just saying we hope to see people there.
yeah, we did. Verstkush was a great fucking
Yes,
place
and by the way,
went
we're
last
going
year.
back.
Fuck you.
Yeah, sorry, we're going to Verstkush.
Can you take that Verstkush and can you buy me one and just put it in like a plastic
I will
bag?
mail you a hot dog.
Okay.
I can't wait to have another rattlesnake and rabbit sausage. Woo, so good. So good.
Shinsengumi is a ramen place
Yeah.
we've been going to.
We always, it's kind of our tradition. That's one tradition I think has lasted probably the longest. We always go to Shinsengumi ramen
I
for
mean,
dinner.
if you make too many traditions, then you're not trying new things.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why we ended up at Verstkush last year.
But we're going to.
Chai Tai, don't take them.
I think we're going
New
to
ramen place this year.
Yeah, I think we are going to a new ramen place. Actually,
What is this?
Daikokua.
Daikokuya?
Daikokuya.
I don't know how to say that. Thank you,
Diet
Ben
Coke?
Norton. I
What?
can't say your name either. Yeah, so there's, I think, and for the longest time too, we had our meetups before we started doing them at Button Mash. We did them at Philippe's, which is like a sandwich shop, which has been pretty good to us for the past few years. But yeah, those are kind of just the. We don't venture too far out.
We
from
don't have
the
fucking
convention center.
time.
Yeah, we spend all of our time at the convention center, in between the convention center and the place where we're staying. So pretty much the only thing we can recommend is where we go to eat.
All right, moving on. Next
I hear
question.
you see celebrities if you venture out far enough. Also, I had someone recommend a place.
I mean, I usually just look in the mirror.
Oh my God, Nolan! I was telling someone at work that we were going to LA in a few weeks, and she recommended a shop to go. She's like, I always see celebrities there. I'm gonna find out what it is.
We saw
She said
celebrity at Button Mash
no,
last year.
shut
We
up.
did.
This
We did.
this you weren't even here. We had this conversation last week. I don't know who
did.
that person is.
Ken Marino.
Ken Marino.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is the second time in a row we've had this conversation.
You ever seen Wet Hot American Summer or like a lot of comedy
Reno
in the last-
911?
Yeah, Reno 911.
They showed me
We
pictures.
literally had this
Anything
conversation
with
last
any of
week.
those other people in it,
All right,
he
let's
always.
move
Wait,
on.
let me just say,
Yep.
the
Bob's Burgers.
somebody
he was in a couple
recommended
episodes.
if it'd be a little bit of a drive, but it's like a sandwich shop in LA. It's not nothing crazy or fancy or anything, but it's really good. But if you go there, she's like, I went there like twice and I saw celebrities both times. One of which was George Clooney.
Damn.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Damn.
Guys, who cares? They're just celebrities.
J. Clue.
Next question this
Oh,
week
they're out. Sorry.
from Mr. Green Toast. With Detroit coming out last week, I figured I'd ask this: would you rather have a female android or a male android?
Well, first of all,
What
you
for?
can't really say female without being creepy. I feel like.
Well, only one of
That-
them can fuck me in the ass.
That being
Whoa!
said, actually, you know what? I think they kind of maybe I'm
think that's
misreading
true
this,
at
but I
all.
think in the story they kind of imply that most of the domestic androids you can buy do not have genitals.
I believe that's
that like
accurate.
that like
you have to buy a pleasure bot specifically.
right, or you have to go to one of those Club Eden places if you want
Have bang bang time.
to get
Are you a
gangbangs.
pleasure model?
So like it's not
Now I'm just having a mental picture of all of them becoming sentient, and then looking down and realizing
Yeah,
for the
like,
first time that they don't have genitals.
Yeah, and then, like,
screaming.
maybe that's like a line of division amongst the androids, like the ones with genitals.
Oh man,
Without.
I bet one of those is more popular than the other. I don't know. I feel like I don't know.
don't know,
This
Nick?
I feel like this is a trap. Is what I feel.
It's no trap.
I mean, some of them might be.
Let's just say female. It's fine.
No
I
one
mean-
says you have to fuck it, Nick.
I mean,
true.
I know, but like the implication of the question is just creepy.
Which one do you want to look at?
It's like
more?
it's like if you're getting a android to actually help you with things, the sex shouldn't matter. You know, what
Well,
so you're implying their sex.
the gender.
Oh,
The
okay.
gender shouldn't matter.
I would say the sex kind of matters.
I mean, which one would be better?
If you're paying all that money,
Which
I
one
mean,
would be better at cuddling you at night?
right?
Oh my god.
All right,
This
let's
is
move
funny.
on. Male. All right, next question from Sir Thomas
But only
Thipple.
if it's Connor.
Since you'll be traveling to E3 soon, are there any traditions you do when you're traveling to a new place? Getting a picture at a famous landmark, eating at a famous restaurant, eating a certain kind of food or local delicacy?
I mean, I always just like when I travel, I usually want to try eating at new places. That's really all I can say. I mean, I don't really think we have any specific.
I mean, personally, anytime Bernadette and I go somewhere, we always get a shot glass from there. If it is in one of the 50 states, we get the short one, and if it's a different country, we get a tall shot glass.
That's pretty cool.
And then Bernadette also, and
you gotta find the Hard Rock Cafe
proxy,
too.
Goes to every Hard Rock Cafe she's trying to go to, and getting a pin from there.
Yeah.
So she has a pin from I don't know how many.
That's
now,
what
but
they
a lot.
want you to do.
I like.
No, yeah, they do.
I mean, what other traditions
And
are there? There's like
photos, I'm not super
You,
big on.
I mean, I like taking pictures. But
I'll take some, yeah.
I like to go and just like party real hard and see if I can remember the place when I leave.
Good.
You did that at PAX one year real well.
Hey, Carlos, do you have any input?
Nah, dude, I just lose my shit every time.
Yep,
That's true. That's like a
Carlos.
tradition for Carlos.
All right, moving on. Next question from SMG Sterling. Fuck, marry, kill.
Here it is.
Detroit edition.
Oh God, I already know what this is. We got our 3 options on the screen right now.
Connor, Kara, or Marcus?
Well, obviously everybody in the world wants to fuck Connor. I mean,
You
that's-
marry
you marry Kara because she's so
What? No,
caring and
you
warm.
kill Connor.
What?
You fuck Kara and you marry Marcus.
Why do you marry Marcus?
Have you seen his dreamy eyes?
They were pretty dreamy.
Right? Do this face.
He's like, yeah, and it's like,
dude.
He's
and,
that strong
and he's so
jaw.
passionate too.
Right?
You know,
He really believes what he believes in.
he does. But Connor,
I feel like Connor would be very loving.
Hi, I'm Connor. I'm the cyborg sent by I'm the
Cyberlife.
android
but
sent by
but I can
Cyberlife.
fix him, Nolan.
Can you?
I can fix him.
Are any of you strong enough to carry me?
Yeah, what's up with that?
That's
None of the androids have
Yeah, they gotta make
like
'em strong.
android strength.
No,
I
no,
know that's a David Cage anti-cliche.
That's
no,
the point of
like
it.
like the one
know.
row you. At one point in the story, you meet an android that's like super tall and
John
Right,
Coffee.
and you're like, he's like, my function was built to like lift heavy things. Like that was his function. And he's like 7 feet tall and like ripped.
But he can only like lift as much as a big, tall guy
Could lift.
human could.
Probably, yeah. That was his attempt at like subverting our expectations.
Well, they
Yeah,
are-
but he
Yeah.
subverted our expectations by making the big strong guy a big
they
strong
are
black
made
guy.
of plastic.
Like, come on.
True. There we go.
All right. Anyway, any
Yeah,
other
what,
inputs?
I don't believe that they're made of plastic. I think that's just like a thing people say, right?
Yeah.
They can't just be plastic.
Well, the outside of them is plastic. The inside, I doubt
In
it is.
advanced plastic.
No, I mean, but like if it's a pleasure bot, especially like you have to be, you don't want to feel like you're fucking a.
You don't want it to be cold.
Why can't we just all four of those 3 androids and me just like live in a weird, happy
Weird sex like
sex
orgy
relationship?
That's interesting.
Polyamorous.
Why can't we just have a big?
Why does
polyamorous
anybody have
thing?
to die?
That's a good point.
That's a good question. Next question.
Eiffel Tower.
Me and all my
Pioche
sex
asks, after hearing about State of Decay 2's issues, I was wondering how long is too long to wait when it comes to patching a game. Does it depend on the type of game or the type of bugs?
I think if they want their game to like, if they want to gain face with their audience and like recoup their, the game's reputation, it has to be quick.
Well,
Like-
so you want to. First of all, you want it to be as soon as possible. You definitely want to get it out there. But secondly, you don't want to accidentally add more bugs when you're trying to patch the current existing ones. That's the thing you have to be careful about.
They did
And-
that with
But
Prey.
that would probably be more important, right? To make sure
Definitely.
that you're going to get it right
Correct.
before you get it quick.
Which means you need to do more testing to make sure that what you're doing isn't adding any more issues.
Right.
So it's not as simple as just, patch it real quick and get it out there. I mean, there are some things you can do that, but games, it's not like you're not...
Interest in a game in any game is super front loaded.
Correct.
It's like the first week is like where like 80% of this. Like, I mean, I don't have the actual statistic in front of me, but I feel like it's like the first week is like 80% of the sales.
I think
like,
you made
life.
that up.
I did. That's what I just said. I made it up, but I'm pretty sure it's a pretty high number. Like 60 to 80% of like the sales of a game are like in the first week or so.
That is a large chunk of them.
That is. I would be confident enough saying it's probably pretty accurate.
So yeah, no,
It's 80% made up. Thank you, Zero.
it does depend on the bug itself. If there are certain bugs out there that completely break a game, obviously they try to get that out as soon as they can.
Although ideally, you got to think about the fact that like when these games go gold, especially if they're like they get certified and they're about to be released, there's like a month-long period, usually a month, maybe 2 months, between when it's finished and like being sent off for production and stuff. And they're already aware of the state of the game is
Correct.
at that point. So during that whole time, they're already like before a game even comes out, they're already working on fixes to bugs they know exist.
You know a sad thing? On the 360, when you put a game in that you haven't played in a while, it'll usually download like an update.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's some games that I play that I stick the disc in and nothing.
Yeah,
Like
that'll happen.
But also there's some games that are like super polished and then like
Some games don't need
fucking
an update.
Persona 5.
Abandoned.
Like
What happened to finishing your
nothing.
game and just release?
All right.
Persona 5 was out in Japan for like a year.
That's true.
Yeah,
That's true.
it's like Yakuza games. They get a little more time to fix out that stuff.
There's also
before
games
they
that come out.
start.
It's like you look at the patch size on day one. It's like
Prey never
Not-
got that patch to
yeah.
remove the quest marker.
Oh, yeah. All right, moving on. Next question from Robert B., one of our new patrons.
new patron.
So this sort of goes along with Nick's questioning of asking how people listen to the podcast or etc. I'm personally a truck driver, and I'm having to listen to it fully auditory, in quotes. Fully
With his ears, just his ears.
because of the lack of time to be able to watch it.
That's
I use only iTunes Podcast Store as well. My question really is when it comes to podcasts and your opinions, do you usually think of it having to watch it or being able to exclusively listening to it?
is he asking whether we prefer audio or visual?
I guess so. He says, I bring it up
Like,
because
how
there
do
are...
we think about it while we're making it?
Yeah. I bring it up because there are moments on your show when you say, watch this, or etc., and I'm obviously not able to.
Yeah.
Been watching the show for several months now, just got around to doing this Patreon. Keep up the great work, guys, and glad to always have something to listen to every Saturday on the road on iTunes.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for your feedback. Thank you for supporting us on Patreon. Really appreciate it. First of all, we introduced this whole concept of like watching footage while we're recording, like just a couple of years ago. It wasn't
3 years ago, maybe.
Yeah, it's a fairly new, like we've been around for like 10 years now. This is a fairly new addition for us. So that was kind of one of the things we discussed early on is like we got to be careful not to be too reliant on describing or talking about what we're watching without at least describing it to people.
That is mainly Nick's job. So when you feel like you're missing something by not watching the video version of the
I've
podcast,
failed. I have failed
that
as a
is
host.
Nick's failure.
Yes.
And none of us think about it.
I would say one of the main reasons we did that was because often back in the day before we had game footage, it was hard to describe a game sometimes.
Yeah.
And it's not just for the listeners, it's for us in the room because we're
it helps us spark conversation.
Yeah, and that was actually that was a big part.
And it
of us
gives
wanting to do
the
it.
audience something visually interesting to like watch other than us just sitting on the couch.
So for the people who are watching live, they can watch the footage, and yes, it does often remind me about something in the game I wanted to talk about that I
Absolutely.
forgot about, or it gives me an opportunity to show a cool moment from a game when I was
like we were
capturing
talking
that
about,
footage.
before the first time when you weren't here, Nolan, we were talking about Overload, and like the footage started rolling. I was like, oh, this is like Forsaken, which I probably wouldn't have put two and two together, having never played Descent.
Yeah.
Like unless I had seen the footage, so like
Sure.
that's the kind of stuff that helps. The video helps us out.
So I would say we primarily still do most stuff.
All the
fully
podcasts that I listen
audio?
to, including our own, because I do occasionally like to listen to our show just to kind of like reassure myself that our show is good. I know that's weird, but I do that sometimes. I do it all like. I download it on iTunes and I listen to it on the go. All the podcasts I listen to that aren't our show, I listen to on the go, that kind of thing. So, I mean, I don't watch anything really. Even though there are plenty of shows that I know that I listen to that are recorded live like ours, I personally never really seek those out.
So, Robert, hopefully we don't say watch this too often.
We try not to.
I do it a lot.
I'll say that. I'll say this in our maybe to fillet ourselves a little bit. I've seen a lot of like podcasts that do film their podcast recording live. I feel like we're the only one that has like gameplay footage.
Are you saying this is a good thing or a bad thing?
Yeah, it's a damn good thing.
Okay. Just
Fuck
check.
these lazy fucks.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus. Sometimes Brad gets a little animated.
Yeah.
Well, we
Sorry you couldn't see him get animated.
It just seemed like a very when we realized we could do that.
Don't take your pants off, Nolan. What are you doing?
Hey, gotta get it for the viewers.
Look at the eyes.
Yeah. We got one final question this week from Zero Skies. If you were a robot, how would you customize your body?
Oh.
Laser eyes, right?
Honestly, for me,
Laser arms.
more arms.
Laser
dick.
legs.
Like having like 4 arms would be so fucking helpful.
6 arms, man.
Sure, why
Just go
not?
Fuck it.
like,
Why should there be a limit on the number of arms you
so
have?
many. You're just a giant bundle of arms.
I'm honestly being practical here. Yeah, having 6 arms, I think honestly would be kind of a little much. But I think having 4 arms would definitely be helpful. There are often times I find like I'm trying to do something and I'm like, God damn, if I had like 1 more arm.
Go gadget cock.
I'd have penises for hands.
Hey, why not? Sure, why not?
Penises for hands.
Nick, I think you meant penises for
be-
fingers.
Oh, there we go. Penis. Well, I mean, it's either you can have like 2
Nick-
big penises for hands, or you can
Nick
have
would
like
be like,
10 little penises for fingers.
Yeah.
Nick would be one of those robots in like the
Then we
Club
wouldn't be able to
Eden's
get your
exclusive
hands out of your
like
mouth.
VIP section for the weird customers.
Nick, stop licking your fingers. You didn't even eat Cheetos.
What were you eating? Ice cream. What is that?
Nick, get your finger out of Brad's ear.
Oh, this is so weird.
Gives new meaning to the term hand job.
No, ooh, that would be weird.
Wrapping 5 dicks around another dick to jerk it off.
All right, that's it. We're done with questions.
Nick's gonna be like, I'm just eating shampoo again. You sick fuck.
Can we wrap this show up, guys?
Yeah, let's do it.
Thank you, everybody, for writing in with your questions. We really appreciate it. Sorry, Nolan. I know you usually do that.
Would they be soft and they could get hard?
Thanks for writing in with your questions, everybody.
When you need to reach something.
Please put your arm
Well,
down.
I'm just imagining like I can like close my hand, but if they became erect, I couldn't like you know what I'm saying? Like you wouldn't be able to like
You get
do
like
anything.
the bottle fingers.
Yeah, like you wouldn't be able to like it'd just be like.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Thank you guys for writing in with your
patrons.
questions.
We
If you're
appreciate your questions.
If you're interested in supporting us on Patreon, you can find us at patreon.com/4player. All it takes is $1 per month, and you can ask us any question you want on the podcast.
Ew.
What?
Like a handful of limp dicks would be so gross.
Limp Biscuit. But would they be like small too?
Would they
Yeah,
all
they'd be small and shriveled.
What
and
if they were
gross.
all different sizes, too?
Would they be circumcised?
Your ring finger would have.
I
to
mean,
be.
is that what you do instead of trimming your fingernails?
Oh my
As you
God.
you circumcise and then it grows back and you have to
Constantly?
circumcise?
No, that'd be horrible.
All right, moving on, guys. Before we wrap up, let's 4-player minute, please. Let's make it quick tonight. Hype, sweat, thank you, and fuck you. We have 5 people. Be cognizant of this.
I'm gonna use I'm gonna go all hypes, and they're gonna be some kind of more under the radar hypes that I have going into E3 of stuff I'd like to see more of, stuff that's been announced. First is I'm hoping at the Square Enix press conference we finally see some more Left Alive, which is the Left Alive.
Is that
anybody?
it's
Yes,
the
Left
front,
Alive.
front
Yeah,
mission
mission,
spin-off. But it kind of looks like Metal Gear Solid
But
or something.
like on
Oh,
the
right.
ground
Yeah.
and like there's mechs everywhere.
It had the
and they
same
have
artist.
the Metal Gear Solid artist, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm hoping we see more of that because it's been TGS since we heard about it. I hope we see some more Ori, Will of the Wisps. It's been
Ooh,
announced
that'll be at
for
Microsoft
for a
for sure.
while. It's been announced for a while, but we've never seen it, and I'm kind of curious because I really do like that first one. I'm kind of hoping we see maybe at least an announcement of what Bluepoint is working on next.
I bet that'll be at Sony.
They're responsible for the Shadow of the Colossus remake, and they're saying that their next project is a much more ambitious project. So I hope it's something cool. I don't see people talking about this one as much, but I'm really happy that this seems like to be the one E3 where they're finally gonna like deep dive into dreams. You know, because I'm a big Little Big Planet fan, and this seems like way more ambitious than that.
It was big at Judges Week, if I remember correctly, right?
Yeah, everyone's kind of raving about it. So
Bless you.
I'm hoping to see some really cool stuff out of that, and
Cool.
maybe Final Fantasy 16.
If we're
Why
yeah.
not?
Please no.
They always announce these. They announce like 12 at the same time they announce.
If the only thing that would make me excited is if they came out and they were like, and now announcing Final Fantasy 16, it's nothing like Final Fantasy 15.
It won't be. You know?
I would be excited for that.
Although, I mean, you say that. But.
All right, my 4-player minute starts now. My hype is for Fallout 76. Honestly, I am almost ashamed to an extent, but then I'm not. That trailer did get me hyped. I do fucking love Fallout. I will say that Fallout 3 was my first Fallout game. That was when I first started college, and holy shit, I spent so much time in that world, and I loved it so much. And ever since then, I have been a fan of the series.
New blocky Pip-Boy?
Yep.
That should look cool.
Yep. So I'm definitely excited for that.
Did you see that one meme where Skyrim was on the Pip-Boy?
Yes, I did see that. That was pretty good.
Yeah.
I like that.
That was probably stolen.
No, obviously. My second hype is actually Fallout 1. I think I'm going to go back and play that.
The original?
The original Fallout.
Yeah,
it's a game I've never played. Yeah, you got to get the water chip. I know that. I know that you got 100 and however many days to get the water.
Yeah, start with one.
I'm sure it is, but I mean, I don't even own 2. I do own 1.
Great.
So I'm definitely gonna start that. The other day I was even like watching a couple of things about it just because I'm like I'm gonna play this.
It's good. It's all turn based.
No, I know all about it. My third hype, E3, dude. All these announcements, everything that's been going on lately. It's right around the corner. It's coming up fast.
It's video game Christmas.
And I'm fucking excited. I am ready to sit on this couch and watch those fucking press conferences and get hyped about fucking games. That is my favorite thing about E3. It's like I said, it's Christmas. Just opening up presents and just getting excited for things. Yeah. And even though like I can be a cynical fucking asshole sometimes, like when I see those announcements, it just gets me fucking hyped. So I'm excited for it.
I'm also excited for like the tragedies.
Because those came
in a lot of ways.
Roby Cat video.
Well, not that specifically, but I want to see some tears. They're usually coming from me, but I think it's somebody else's.
There's always one.
Someone must suffer.
You want to see another game get announced by Mercury Steam?
Yeah.
Like we're gonna
skip the whole.
Chris Davis is finally gonna get that Splinter Cell announcement, and it's gonna be like, oh, sweet baby Jesus, and then it's gonna be the Battle Royale.
He loves Battle Royale.
That is true. I'm sure he would love that.
Oh,
His dick fingers would be so hard. My fuck you this week goes to Amazon. I don't know all the fucking details about what's going on with them in pre-ordering Sony games, but kind of fuck you. I don't know what's going on with that. I think they. I don't know. It just sucks.
Best Buy thing.
But
Gamer
why
Club,
it's only affecting Sony games?
So I understand Gamer Club. That was probably a huge waste of money for Best Buy. I understand them canceling that. Whatever. But the thing is, Amazon just lost a bunch of business from me. Like I usually don't pre-order games except for like the big ones I care about. But like I pre-order like Red Dead, and like the other day I was getting hyped for Spider-Man and I wanted to pre-order it. Can't do it on
The only
Amazon.
reason I'm going to get that discount is because I pre-ordered Spider-Man at E3 last year.
Last I heard, it was a Sony thing.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's weird. It's only affecting
because they wanted
Sony
people
games.
to buy through their digital.
This happened through Nintendo.
Oh, is it? Well, then fuck you, Sony.
But like, here's the fact. I mean, if I'm still going to be getting games day one, even if all these like discount programs go away, I'm probably still going to use Amazon just for the convenience of just showing.
And that's
up
my
at home.
thing is I like the fact that I can buy it and have it on day one. That's why I've always pre-ordered.
And
it
I just come home from work and it's just there.
Yeah,
I don't have to stop at home or stop anywhere on the way home to get it. It's
Yeah. I don't know. Well, if it is a Sony thing, then fuck Sony.
That's the last thing I heard.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah.
I mean, it is only affecting Sony right now. I thought it was spreading because I thought.
But once again, like Brad was saying, it's not. You can still pre-order Sony games from Best Buy.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Anyway.
But you don't get the discount, right?
Well, Gamer Club thing is not there
exactly.
Anymore,
Carlos.
Sure.
Are you going to do it?
Yeah, I'm going to do it. I got it. All right. Hype. Next week. Vampire. It's got RPG.
Oh, it's
It's
next
got
week.
I
jank.
forgot about that.
Oh, it's next
It's got
Friday.
Fuck boys.
It's got my 2 most recent favorite things. And vampires, too. I like vampires.
And Jank. Vampires and Jank.
Vampires, jank, and RPG. Fuck yeah. Dude.
Jankpires.
Fucking just pissed me up the ass with that shit.
What?
My sweat is PUBG has lost 50% of its players this year.
Why is that your sweat?
So
I don't know, man. I just gotta.
He's
sweat.
worried about them. He doesn't know where they
Worried
went.
about it. What's gonna happen?
They're
dude?
suing Epic too.
Shit. Epic's just gonna be like, can't use our engine now anymore, dog.
That one will for Dennis
Done.
Dyack.
That's my hype. That's my sweat. What's the other one?
Thank you.
Thank
Fuck
you.
you.
Thank you and
My
fuck you.
thank you is to Krispy. He let me borrow his 360.
What?
That's how I've been playing all my
Why
old
don't you
games.
own a 360?
Mine's fucked up, dude. It's like fucked.
They sell them at Goodwill for like $30.
Yeah, but Krispy's was free.
They're all red ring though. Sorry.
Krispy's was free and
What's
in
your
great shape.
What's your fuck you?
We're on a rental.
My fuck you is I'm glad I got you guys all in this room because my fuck you is to all of you.
Yeah.
All of you because a while back I orchestrated the greatest highlight in the history of everything. When Brad was doing his triumphant return to streaming, I idled PUBG with the webcam pointed at his face cut out and jacked the feed right before he went live for the first time in months.
That was like the first time you did that bit?
Yeah,
After
and
that
nobody clipped it.
Because we only clip funny things.
Did anybody end up clipping the thing with Krispy ordering the
It
small
was already
condoms?
clipped. It never got uploaded.
Oh, I forgot that happened.
Dude, that is the greatest. That is the greatest thing I've ever seen.
Through
I did
Discord.
it to him the other night.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wait, did those condoms ever arrive?
no, I canceled them.
Oh, you should have kept them. All right, come on.
Crispy?
All right, my hype this week is a cautious hype for No Man's Sky Next. My sweat this week is for Fallout 76, just because it's still an unknown quantity. I want to be excited. I hope it's something worth getting excited over. My fuck you for this week goes to this girl that I was dating for about a year and a half ago, because I loaned her my copy of Fallout 4 and she kept it, and then we stopped talking. That was not a very nice thing for her to do. And my thank you for this week goes to all of you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Just because. Just thanks for keeping my seat warm while I was out.
You're very welcome.
Anytime.
Well, I think Chris Davis did a lot of the seat warming part, but you know.
His butt.
His farts.
All right, I've got nothing but hype this week. My first hype is, of course, to go back to Wurstküche in LA for that sausage.
Nick
Good.
loves that sausage.
That's some good meat. I cannot wait. I cannot wait to go back. I'm so excited.
That meat in his mouth.
Exactly.
You got to get a different sausage.
Fair. I'll get another exotic sausage. Yeah, fuck it.
Get an alligator sausage.
I
I
think they
don't
had
think they have
alligator
alligator
sausage.
sausage.
Tastes like frog.
I mean,
legs.
all right. Second hype is for just fucking E3 in general, man. I keep forgetting there are all these new announcements coming out. There's things I'm forgetting that we already know are going to be there. Things like CD Projekt Red is going to be there with Cyberpunk 2077.
Metroid
That's
Prime.
going to be there. Holy
gonna
fucking
suck,
shit.
dog.
Man, we're getting closer and closer to the big show, and it's getting very, very, very exciting. And
big
also, I
show.
feel like we have an E3 2018 channel in Discord. People are joining and jumping in there. Not a lot to talk about yet, but people are getting pretty hype, so that's exciting. Pasty what? You know what? I'll just mention that. I'm gonna make that a hype there. Pasty White Redhead in chat says DMC5 at E3. It's looking more and more likely like that's gonna happen. I'm ready. My body is ready for new Devil May Cry.
What is it going to look like, though?
I think it'll be like Devil May Cry 4, but nicer.
What do you do? It's been too long. You can't just do that.
Well, who the hell knows? Who the hell knows?
Maybe it'll look like Scalebound.
But that in and of itself is exciting. And you know what? I'm gonna throw in a sweat. My sweat has to do with E3. I'm so excited for E3. So excited for all these potential announcements. I am worried about the number of those potential announcements that are gonna turn out to be like Battle Royale, or some
It's
kind of.
not just that. This happens every time when we go in really hyped and like, oh, all this shit's going to be there. And it's not. But then you're like, you still are kind of like want to ride the hype train. So you're like, yeah, Battlefield actually looked pretty good. I think I'm going to get that.
Gotta be hyped
That's
about
the
something.
reality of E3.
But you say that it's only happened to me like twice.
How come nobody said the word Anthem? No one
I said the
cares
word
about
Anthem
Anthem.
anymore.
Dude,
I said the word Anthem
at the beginning of
cared about
the
Anthem.
podcast. I said I like shitty games and I was excited about Anthem.
At the beginning of this exact podcast, I looked at you and I said, I watched the Anthem footage yesterday. I'm pretty excited for Anthem. I just want to know more about it. It's just, I've been going to E3 for like 6 or 7 years now, and like there's only been like 2 years that I've been like genuinely like kind of let down by. Every other year, I get super. I walk away with it with so many things to be excited about, and that in and of itself is great. I love E3. It's like Christmas. So yeah, I don't know. I'm getting pretty fucking excited. That's it. That's our show. We got to wrap this up. This has gone on long. Carlos, thank you for being here.
You're welcome.
Guys, thank you for being here. Everyone out there who's watching on Twitch, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Thank you for listening. Again, join us next week for another episode. It's our last pre-E3 episode. Of course, discord.gg/4Player. Please join us there. It's a great place to keep in touch with the community. Download our Popcorn Cast. Krispy and I talked about Solo. Good episode. It's up there on all of our public feeds now. You can join me on Monday night for another episode. We'll be talking about something, not entirely sure yet what, but I have some ideas. And, of course, join us for E3, not this coming week, but the following week. Starting on Sunday, we're getting very excited, as you can probably tell, and we'll have plenty of commentary and podcasting and stuff to do all week long. It should be a good time. So, thanks for listening, and we will catch you guys next week. 4playernetwork.com is the website. Peace out.
Bye.